Hello, good people. This is a PSA from TSA. You are listening to the Underground Railroad Show at Spreaker.com. I am the great TSA with my assistant, That Ninja. I'm sorry for the lack of attendance. I was busy spiking faces and beating data dominoes. TSA out.
Who told you that?
That ain't true! That's not true!
Oh, man, I love the game of golf. It was a beautiful day out here today, wasn't it, baby girl? You didn't think it was a nice day today?
Well, I am sweating all over, so no, I didn't really think it was.
Well, I mean, you got to drive the car. You got to drive the car, and it did have the hood on it, so it kept the sun off of you.
Yeah, but it had no air conditioning.
Well, okay, fair enough. So, we're going to get something to eat, right?
Of course.
Cool.
And you're obviously paying, right?
Always. Always. Man, golf is a fun sport. Hey, I drove the ball pretty well today, don't you think?
Pretty well to the far right, yeah?
But, okay, even though I went right, my iron game was really good, and I was able to fight my way out of that.
Yeah, but you hit it into the sand, and you did that quite often, might I add.
Even when I went in the sand, my chip was really tight, so I was able to get out of there and get close to the flag.
After 3 times.
You have to admit, though, my putting game was really good, and it saved me a lot of the times from all of the bad hits I had out in the fairway.
And it only took you 11 holes. Listen, until you get a good golfing game, I'm going to keep giving you shit.
I'm improving. I mean, since I've gotten started, haven't I got a lot better?
Yes, you've gotten better since your injury.
We don't have to talk about my shoulder, but I mean, that's another reason why it's coming along slowly, but, you know, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Sure.
Hey, baby girl, I'm about to go hop in the shower. When I get out, we head out to the volleyball tournament, okay?
Okay. Oh, can I use my the computer?
Oh, yeah, of course, baby. Of course. Hey, baby girl.
Yeah.
Repetition breeds familiarity.
Familiarity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds complacency or success. We're going for the latter rather than the former.
All right, good deal. Handle business.
Okay.
Hey, remember you're a beast out there. Act like it.
I will.
All right.
Let me see what he got in these emails. Spam. Overdue bills. Not surprised. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Young nigga got it bad 'cause he's broke. What is this? Sarah? Linda? Becky? Amber? Amy? Molly? Ginger? Heather? Karen? Oh, hell no. We are not having this. No, I don't want no Pancake Tuesdays. Oh God, delete. No, I do not want your lemon bars, Karen. Ooh, my dad's gonna get...
Do you have strong opinions and you're looking for a way to express them? Are you tired of carbon copy sports radio that infests the airwaves? Do you have creative concepts and ideas that you want to share with the world? Then this is not the commercial for you. This commercial is all about
Kinko's University.
That's right. Kinko's University gets you prepared for the podcasting world when you don't have the chops for it. If you're one of the many people looking to get into podcasting, but you just don't have the skill, Kinko's University is the university for you.
I want to do a podcast, but where do I start? And what do I talk about? Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's University, the first thing we teach you about is OPP. That's right, other people's perspective. So you can always have something to talk about getting it from another source.
Podcasting looks fun, but do I really have to do all that research and show prep?
Kinko's University.
Absolutely not. Here at Kinko's, we have classes like No Preparation 101, where we teach you to get around all of that pesky show prep because we know you don't have the time.
I wonder what the best time slot is to get the most listeners.
Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's, we have a class called Recycling Ideas 101, where you can find a time slot that works and just jump in that slot to try to make it happen for yourself.
Kinko's University.
I want to come up with new content and subject matter, but I'm not that creative.
Kinko's University.
You'll also take Regurgitation 101, which will help you come up with other people's subject matter that you can recycle and make your own. That's right, here at Kinko's, we teach you how to get around hard work, getting new wrinkles in your brain, and having to work hard at your craft. Come to Kinko's, where you can take these top courses with top teachers. Most people that go to Kinko's graduate with Kinko's degrees, that's right, as master copiers. Kinko's University, for the skilled impaired.
Kinko's University is not a real university and is not accredited. You don't actually learn any skills. You just learn how to mimic people who have actual skill.
Underground Railroad Show with that ninja. All aboard have the tickets ready because the train has arrived. Delayed or on time, it's time to get on board.
What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Thank you for coming aboard, and I hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. I apologize for not pulling the train out yesterday. Time got away from me, and by the time I got ready to pull the train out, the delayed time was a tad bit too much to really pull the train out. It was best to wait till the following day, which is today. So I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for coming aboard. Hope everything is well. Before we get started, first things first. And as a matter of fact, while I'm getting that together, let's do a setup. The title of today's show is The Black Panther Party. Now, what this is essentially, let's just go here right quick. One of the things I like about, I always talk about this for the listeners that are normally here, but because the format is slightly different as far as the way it's administered and who has access to it, I'll just repeat what's been said. I enjoy this time of year, meaning when football season is over, and I understand it's round ball seasoning as the I understand it's round ball season, and as the college tournament starts, as March Madness starts, I'll get into that a little bit more because I'll actually be viewing it and I can give you a valid opinion, regardless of how limited it is as far as, the team that I'm watching in the moment. I didn't watch them develop during the course of the year or anything like that. So once I start putting my eyes on round ball, I'll speak about it. But during this time of year, especially actually when basketball season is over, but for me, it almost really starts after football season is over, even though they generally give you something. Football's going to give you a story. They're going to give you a few things. There's some things that have happened in football, and time permitting, I may address those at one point. If somebody mentions it in the chat, no thoughts are banned. If it comes up, I'll give you my opinions on it. I saw one thing I was encouraged by, long overdue. And then I saw something else, and I don't know what the feelings are about that, but I have my thoughts on both moves that anybody would probably be talking about right now. Notice those, what was it, yesterday, right? So yesterday, right before I was going to do the show or planned on it, that's when I believe those things came across the wire. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. That's noteworthy. So the NFL always finds a way to stay relevant in season or off season, but the entire point of that is these times are referred to, and not necessarily right now, but especially at the end of basketball season, that stereotypical, that cliche, the dog days of summer. And what that really translates to is you don't have, I don't know, for lack of a better term, you don't have it easy. You just don't have stories handed to you. You don't have just those easy go-to stories, those things you can depend on. So, it takes a little creativity or, maybe just a tad bit of effort. But I enjoy this time of year because you can just go anywhere and talk about whatever's on your mind. They play so many games in basketball. You still have a while before it's going to get down to really what matters. I feel I have time to get into that. And again, I'm not going to speak a lot about something I'm not necessarily invested in or knowledgeable on. Now, I'm probably going to bring the yellow one on to speak about round ball because I can I trust his opinion, and I know he's been watching a lot of round ball. Again, I've only, I don't know, 137 or so dribbles possibly that I've watched up to this point in the year. So I haven't watched a lot of round ball. We're not even going to talk about last year. I don't think I watched any round ball at all. If I did, I can't remember what it was. But combined with last year when the season started and now, about 137 dribbles, college and NBA combined. And I'll be honest, I'm probably going to be more invested in college ball. But with all that being said, before I get started, the title of today's show is the Black Panther Party, and essentially it's part one of a series. It's going to be a 3 to 4 part series, maybe not necessarily in order because there is a matter of a bracket tournament we have to get together, but it's going to be at least a 3-part series, maybe 4, depending on how one of these shows goes. As I kind of dug into it and I figured out I was going to do this last week, and when I started digging into it, I already knew, you kind of knew some things. And slow down. Before I go there, I don't have the proper celebratory music that I would like, but I was supposed to be doing this while I was setting all of that up. But knowing of the Black Panther Party, it was never a lot of detailed information. And of course, if you're depending on this country and any outlet that they're a part of, you're going to get something that's misconstrued. It was never something that was really talked about. And when I went into the dive and just started getting into it, and I really never finished my thought. I like this time of year because I can jump into different things. So I like to talk about, the things, the history that we didn't get taught, and things that are just interesting, and, different viewpoints. And you get, it's now with the internet, you have to dig a little bit and you have to get past, some what I would call fraudulent or misleading publications with little buzzwords in them. Things meant to denigrate or diminish the accomplishments or the organization itself. And again, I feel that, I know that the inherent biases of white America would not allow them to tell the story properly because somehow they were viewed as a hate group. And we already knew that was bullshit from the beginning. But when you truly look into it, you're just like, how did you manufacture hate group out of that? It was beyond a reach, which you already knew, but after really digging into it, the reach was not even reasonable. what it really boils down to is I don't want to go there yet. Before I do all that, let's see. I believe, and this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy that Ninja. Just allowing people to come in, and one order of business before we get into the show. Okay. I'm almost certain. What would that be? Apologize. Oh, wait a minute. Should be here. Apologize for the pause. The one thing I didn't set up beforehand. Okay. Not sure which one, but it'll work. All right. I apologize for that pause. Needed to set something up first before I get into it. So what I'm going to get into today is the Black Panther Party in itself, the origins of it, the founders, just, a little bit of the backstory, things I found to be interesting. I'll give you my viewpoint on it for what it's worth. And, of course, I'll read your chat and go back and forth on that. But I just found it extremely interesting. And again, man, everything that I look back on and really dig into, I'm just like, it's us not knowing about it is so criminal. And again, I'll jump right into it. But before I do that, real quick, before I do that, the great TSA. March 10, 2005. The world was blessed with her arrival. You, the listeners, enjoyed her on, as you heard her before the show in numerous skits, and when she was co-hosting the bracket show annually, and she always did the handwritten bracket that, we kept tally of everything on said handwritten bracket, and we have all of those put away. The great TSA turned 21 today. 21. Where the hell did the time go? Damn, I'm old. 21, legal. 21, been on the planet 21 years. I know everybody always says time flies, enjoy this time. They're only going to be this size for so long. But boy, time flies. Shout outs to the great TSA. And for the uninitiated, for the people that might not be aware of the great TSA, if you didn't hear it at the top of the show.
Hello, good people. This is a PSA from TSA. You are listening to the Underground Railroad Show at Spreaker.com. I am the great TSA with my assistant, That Ninja. I'm sorry for the lack of attendance. I was busy spiking faces and beating data dominoes. TSA out.
Happy born day to the great TSA. March 10th. 21 years on this planet. Bomb drop for the great TSA. Happy born day, baby girl. Before we jump into the subject matter.
Amen, preacher!
One classic moment from the great TSA. Then we're going to jump right into it. Let me just set it up. Honestly, I'm not sure which one this is, but if I had to guess, this is a moment from one of the bracket shows. And if I had to guess, I'm probably going to be the victim of some type of ridicule from the seat of my loins.
Looking at this, we have a lot of potatoes.
Yes, we do.
Why?
Potatoes are great.
Potato salad does not count. Those are not real potatoes. That's That's like, think of the most horrible thing in the world times cancer.
Did you say times cancer?
That's funny.
Oh, man. Oh, wait a minute.
I forgot about that one. That's real low. Y'all can hear how young she is in that one. That's way back. I'm gonna run it. I'm sorry. I'm running that one more time. That's really old. That is really old. How old was she? Oh man, that is way back. Was she even a teenager yet? Let's run this one back.
Looking at this, we have a lot of potatoes.
Yes, we do.
Why?
Potatoes are great.
Potato salad does not count. Those are not real potatoes. That's like, think of the most horrible thing in the world times cancer.
Did you say times cancer?
That's funny.
Oh, man. Oh, wait a minute.
Couple of points there. Number one, first she preached and protested about how horrible potato salad is. Let's not lose that fact. Potatoes are great, but potato salad, as she said, that's not real potatoes. Think of the worst thing ever, times cancer. I'm sorry, that was funny to me. I hadn't heard that shit, and I wasn't expecting her to say that shit, but I forget about class influence and the internet and all that shit. Oh shit, that was hysterical. Okay. Happy born day to the great TSA. Happy born day to the great TSA. Do I hear anything else in there? You know what? I'm just gonna let it go. All the celebratory stuff I had music attached to it, so I had to take it out. Although I guess I could get away with it for a hot second. But at any rate, happy born day to the great TSA. Classic clip right there. I thought that was something else. Let's go here. We'll go with praise.
Somebody say yeah. Yeah.
Once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. I don't know why I took that off of there. I'm wilding for that. Let's see if I want to do quick intros right quick before I jump into it. I think I probably want to hold off, but let's see. Wait a minute. I didn't do what I normally do. I don't see anything about, are we good? Okay, I tell you what, we'll do quick intros and I'm going to jump right into it. Not that many people on the train yet. We have Sluggo, the motherfucking Ham on the train. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming aboard, and I hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. Sluggo's baby girl is on her way to college. As we said, time flies. My baby girl is 21.
God damn!
21. Time flies. It's all good, though. As I said many times before, she's everything that's good about me. Coming aboard the train. Whoa. Before I get there, Sluggo said, it's the best time of the year if you're a football fan. Our next 5 fixtures will be classics, sir, but I digress. Of course, he's speaking about European football, a.k.a. soccer. Thank you, Sluggo. I didn't ask. Lima Charlie, by the way. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sluggo, for the happy born day. Sluggo said testing. Hopefully, that's nothing that I have going on. Maybe he said he's testing. JBJ, I'm doing that incorrectly. Coming aboard the train with his usual. Good evening.
Motherfucker.
JBJ said, "Happy born day, TSA. Now your dad will let you smoke and drink."
Who told you that?
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.
JBJ.
Who told you that?
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind. I don't know how to do none of that shit.
You're funny, sir.
That's a Negro that's out of his mind.
You must be on something.
Okay. There's my viewer. My viewers pause twice. Okay. That slow should be coming in now. If my viewer here should be good here. I'm not getting any motion. Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm frozen here, but as I look, got to be kidding me. I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Me and StreamYard still are not getting along. Studio's not moving, so you're definitely not up to par. Got to be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. I'm getting no motion. Okay, I just looked in the chat. Okay. All right. For whatever reason, I don't have any motion over here, so If you're good, you can hear me right now. I'm not even getting my. Give me the Lima Charlie right quick. Okay, if I'm good, I can just continue. My mic jumped off for some reason. Thank you, sir. Okay, so right here, I'm not getting anything. Okay, there's a portion of this where I'll need that, but I can get away without it. Since y'all are with me, let me just roll with it. Let's get into it. But again, happy born day to the great TSA. And right now, I don't have my board, but if y'all can hear me, we're good. I continue to read the chat, and let me jump right into it. But JBJ said, happy born day, TSA. Now your dad will let you smoke and drink with him. Who raised you? Oh, who raised you? Not funny, sir. Not funny at all. JBJ said, oh, sorry. That's not right. Hell no. Nah. JBJ, my sound bites right now are on the fritz. Sluggo said, it's potatoes that are complemented by other great condiments, sir. Complemented is such a strong and politically correct word. I would lean more towards words like ruin, destroy, abuse, I really need to look up something stronger. There aren't enough words in the English language to articulate the disgust I feel when you ruin potatoes by turning them into potato salad. There are no words. JBJ said ninja reminiscing. Those are good soundbite requests, sir. And I restarted this thing. I shouldn't be having this issue. Again, I'm going to continue what's going on my screen right now as well. That's when they were talking about I was on mute. For some reason, my mic jumped off. I don't know why. JBJ, that's funny. Podcasting looks fun, but do I really have to do all their research and show prep? Most people don't. Okay, so give me another confirmation because right now my screen is doing something else. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. That was wow. I'll give y'all a second. Mic check, mic check. That was wow. See where we're at here. Mic check, mic check. Hmm. Got to be kidding me with that. All right, so there. All right. Yeah. All right, I believe I'm still live. Let me know if I still have y'all on here. I'll give a second for confirmation. Once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Just had a technical glitch. Since I have this feed on, I'm assuming that your feed is still live because I'm checking the show feed. And let's check another source just to make sure. Let's see. Okay, I believe it's running. Okay. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Okay, I believe we're good. I believe we're good now. I'm just going to continue. All right. I believe I introduced everybody. All right, we'll start here on the last chat. JBJ said, Ninja reminiscing. Are you crying? There's no crying. That's again a great sound bite. Right now, I'm not going to fish for those sound bites because I have a lot of content to get into. But I might come back to that, JB. I might come back to that. That's when I jumped on mute. Okay, thank you for that confirmation, sir. That I just had one hell of a glitch. So people are gonna have to come back. Okay, let me jump into it. And before I do, one more introduction. And still coming aboard to train his usual bomb drop for slapping the sauce out of his wife's hands when when she tried to apply it to my ribs. Real talk, true story. None other than the great Sidney Jackson. As well. All right, man, let's jump into it. The Black Panther Party. And as I was saying, this is going to be at least a 3-part series, maybe 4-part series. What I'm going to do today is speak about the Black Panther Party, what I learned when I did a deep dive. You know, you always kind of heard some things, the food programs, protecting the neighborhood. But just to do the deep dive, it just, to quote James Baldwin, to be a black man and to be fairly conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. I'm slightly paraphrasing, but boy, the more you learn, the more you learn. Again, let's just start here with it. The Black Panther Party. My attempt today is to talk about a little bit of the background of the founding fathers. And while I'm at it, let's go ahead and while I'm at it, let's see. Let's do this properly. All right, the Black Panther Party. Founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. Now, there's too much to get into with so many different factions of the Panther Party. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on different individuals on different segments of the Panther Party series. So today I want to talk about the foundation. The things that kind of led to it. My thoughts about that, and I'm going to focus on Bobby Seale today. So as far as individuals, I'm going to focus on Bobby Seale today. I can probably almost guarantee that Huey P. Newton is going to follow him. After that, probably Fred Hampton, but I'll let you know ahead of time. But I can say this first: when I plan on getting to Bobby Seale, as long as the background doesn't take too long. So that's the plan, or as long as we don't have any more technical issues. So let's jump right into it. Again, happy born day to the great TSA. All right, just thinking about the Black Panthers and the misinformation, the lack of knowledge, the lack of information concerning the Panthers, unless you were lucky enough to be around or grow up with somebody that may have been affiliated. It's this is another one of those things that I just let me not get ahead of myself. Let's just go here first. That the movie Panther. Now there were a couple of them. Mario Van Peebles, I think his father made one, and they said maybe that was the most realistic Panther movie that was made. But I've never seen it. They never replay it. It was probably maybe a little too authentic, perhaps. But the one that I remember was the one with Kadeem Hardison. I think the one that most of us, they had my man from Innocent to Society in it. AJ Johnson was in it. That comedian in the past, the short guy, Ezel on Friday. But I remember that version. And even then, just watching that one, after just doing a little bit, watching it, you just felt like an inadequate meal was served. It was an extremely inadequate portrayal of the Panthers. They touched on some things, but they really didn't emphasize who the Panthers truly were and what they truly stood for. And I can say that because we have the information and the verbiage and the intentions of the Panthers from the founders themselves, because we have their audio, we have their thoughts, we have some of their manifests. So there's no confusion about what they actually stood for and what they were attempting to do and what they did accomplish. And just looking into it, the movie was so inadequate. And in some ways, it just appeared, I haven't dug into it, but if I had to guess, I'd imagine that movie had for lack of a better term, Caucasian money behind it. And when Caucasian money is behind it, they're going to find a way they're going to soften it up and they're going to make it presentable and palatable for the people that they care about. The one thing that is consistent about America is the only thing that they do really consistently, the only true American tradition is the hatred of Black people. And it's evident in everything that I've studied, back to Marcus Garvey, back to slave laws, back to the so-called end of slavery, back to all of the massacres, back to all of the civil rights struggles and the murder of anybody that essentially stood up and tried to do something without their permission. And that's what the Black Panther Party was. It was Black people standing up and getting something done without their permission. And that is something that America has never stood for and still doesn't. And there are a multitude of details to get into concerning that, but just listen, and maybe I need to go back and watch the movie, and you can only show so much, but I remember the little scene they showed where they slightly mentioned the food program, but they didn't touch on the outreach. And again, maybe I need to go back and watch it again for a reference, but I don't remember them touching on the outreach and how far reaching it was, how many Black Panther Party offices they had across the country, how many people were invested and influenced. They touched into it, but not really. they really didn't touch into the COINTELPRO of it all. They really didn't get into that. It was very sketchy the way they it was a very whitewashed film. And I didn't see the one they put the British cat in, or the cat from Europe. But everybody that I've had several opinions about it that were not positive. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they had him portraying Fred Hampton. But when they have their hand in our story, they whitewash it because, again, not only will the savagery not stop, the short-sightedness, the unwillingness to admit a bias, or embracing and really loving your bias and not being willing to give it up, whatever the case may be. Not only will they not get out the way, not only will they not stop ignoring the obvious, the underlying hateful black people, they won't even allow us to tell our own goddamn story. Everything that they touch, they throw so much bullshit on it. And just looking back on it, I remember just one scene when the women came in to join. He said, "Sister, as long as you're down with the 10-point plan, you can join like anybody else." And again, I'm paraphrasing, but just looking back on it, why didn't they specify what the damn 10-point plan was? I didn't know. But why didn't they specify what the 10-point plan was? That seems like a simple thing. That I don't think that was in the movie. And again, let me know if I just forgot all of this, because I only seen it a few times. And it's not like I watched it right before I did the show, but I don't remember any of those memories about the 10-point plan, about how COINTELPRO was crooked. They really showed the savagery of the police, but not really. Not really. Even in the instances where the Panthers were defending themselves, they showed it in a way that was palatable or making an excuse for the actions of the police. Maybe it was a noble attempt, but maybe they cut the scenes that took the soul out of the movie, but it wasn't a good depiction. Point of that is anything that they're a part of, they always water it down, which is why they attacked the story of Nat Turner. And forgive me for forgetting my man's name. I could have easily researched that, and he used the same title that the whites used when they made that propaganda film about black people that really kind of helped to boost the mentality. And I mean, a movie just can't flip everybody like that, but it really helped to influence a bunch of simple-minded savages that already were on the fringe. God, what is the damn name of that? I should look that up. Just bear with you. The old school version of it was a bullshit propaganda film depicting black people in a crazy manner, justifying white savagery. He used the same title, but it was a Nat Turner story. And because he didn't allow white influence and he didn't soften the story up, and he was telling a story about, there are so many layers to it, and I don't want to get lost, and I just want to jump into the subject matter. But again, I think ABM posted something about Harriet Tubman. And even with Harriet Tubman, there's nothing. They act like there was nobody else. They only give you, there were so many black people that fought back and freed slaves and killed motherfuckers, but they talk about none of them. They don't want to give the image of any man doing it. But there were so many people that did it, but their compensation is, we'll give you one. So they only talk about Harriet Tubman. They don't talk about anybody else. And they don't talk about the fact that Harriet Tubman killed multiple white people. And she shot any black person in the face that didn't want to go, because they were going to go back and tell. So you can either go or you can catch a bullet. You can catch a 12 gauge to the face. And any white people that got in the way caught a 12 gauge to the face. They don't talk about the fact that she killed your ass in a heartbeat. And that happened a lot. It wasn't a single solitary event. There was a reason why, stop. We're going to focus on what this is. But the point is that anything that they're a part of, they're going to give you a bullshit sense of history. A complete and total bullshit sense of history. So when my man made that movie about Nat Turner, somebody fought back and just killed white people that deserved it, that if they actually believed in this American dream shit, and they actually believed in a we and not a us and them, as we know they actually do from their actions, they would praise the Nat Turner because he was taking out a bunch of worthless savages that deserved to die horribly. Every last one of them. You should love that story. I don't understand what the problem is. So because he wouldn't tell that story and make it palatable for white America, or not tell it at all, or not put in some type of white sympathy or white hero, he was attacked. And because of the psychological warfare that we deal with, so many black people didn't get the story, or went with the media slander. But point being, anything they're a part of, you get an inadequate an inadequate adaptation of that subject. Give me for that pause. This is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy that Ninja. Because I'm losing place. And I'm wild for that. So the Black Panther Party for defense. First thing about it is that you only need defense if you're under attack. You only need defense if you're under attack. The Black Panther Party was formed because white America just wouldn't leave us the fuck alone. It wasn't the mobs anymore, but it was the police department doing the same thing. And again, when it was talked about and protested, they just kept on with the same bullshit. So defense was necessary. It was bred out of their ignorance. If they just would have acted decent, there would have never been a need for a Black Panther Party. They don't talk about that part of it. But defense is necessary when you're under attack. And just this quick summation before I just jump into it. Just looking at it and looking at the entire story, one thing I came away with that I'll say now, and it's the same thing with Medgar Evers. It's the same thing with Dr. King, Malcolm X. Medgar Evers. Any black person that ever tried to improve our conditions in the man that wasn't co-signed by white America. Even W.E.B. Du Bois, that was the image that white America used to shit on Marcus Garvey. White America still turned their back on W.E.B. Du Bois, and he had to flee the fucking country because they were going to convict him of some bullshit. You know why? It was cool for him to shit on Marcus Garvey, but he spoke on, I think, one of the wars and said we didn't need to go to war. He's thinking of himself as just a regular old American. We didn't need to go to war. We need to, do other things. And they were like, nigga, what the hell are you talking about that for? You're here to shit on black people. So, they could talk about him, being one of the founders of the NAACP, which is bullshit anyway, but they kicked that nigga out the country. Just, it's a very old lesson to let you know you can be their shill, but they'll still shit on you at the end of the day. They got mad at him for having an opinion that they didn't tell him to have. So there's a history of this shit. You can go, if we actually knew the history, you would understand you don't really get anywhere with that. All the way back to W.E.B. Du Bois. They talk about him, and give you that short part. They don't tell you kicked him out of the goddamn country. But when I think about what the Black Panther Party should have been, when I look at the 10-point plan, and I almost want to start here, but I know that's going to send me on a little rant. So I want to get into a little bit of the history part. But the 10-point plan, just when I was talking about that part in the movie, when I looked at what the Black Panther Party was and the way that it was effective and what they were functioning and what they were trying to do, and I just wanted to make this point before I got started. This is why I get frustrated when I hear we're our own worst enemy, or the very uninformed, cowardly, or the result of the psychological warfare statement that I hear. I don't want to talk about white people. The problem is every time we had any organization that was doing right by us, white people fucked it up. So if you don't talk about that, how the hell are we going to prevent them from fucking it up the next time we try to do something? It's always, what's our problem? It's not our problem, it's them. If they get out the fucking way, there will be no goddamn problem. And to not bring that up at the behest of their feelings is incredibly stupid, because the only thing you're left with is where the problem. And we're not. Everything I look into, these motherfuckers are in the way. I'm sorry. Everything. I haven't looked at shit where they weren't the goddamn problem. I remember the statement, talking doesn't mean anything. Why don't we try to do something? And I did a show where I detailed and laid out the first steps that were necessary for us to do anything. And this is before I knew anything about the Panthers and before I dug into, these other people where I found these same theories, just because you're going to come to that conclusion if you're just paying attention or if you read up on history. And if I remember correctly, what I said was the first thing we're going to have to do is come together as a people. And I said, that's going to take a long fucking time. That's easier said than done. That is going to be a process. That is not going to happen within our lifetimes or probably our kids' lifetimes. It would be nice. We can plant the seeds for it. We can start factions, but it's going to be difficult to do. And one of the reasons I said it was going to be difficult to do, I said as soon as we start to do anything, the government and white people are going to do anything they can to fuck it up. They're going to infiltrate it and try to fuck it up from the inside. And that was before I knew anything about COINTELPRO, because they've done that every single fucking time. They're going to get in there and fuck it up because there's nothing they hate more than black people trying to do for each other, even though they say pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Some really evil shit. I can't really imagine being that poorly raised. But I said the first thing we have to do is come together as a people. That's going to take a long time. Secondly, we would have to agree on what our issues are. And during the course of that conversation, if we don't mention America's deep-rooted hate for black people and the fact that they've interfered in everything that we've ever tried to do. After slavery, there were slave laws. They freed us into absolutely nothing. When we got something done, here come the savages doing the only thing they know how to do. Being an ignorant, low-life, sister-fucking, non-bathing piece of shit, raping, murdering, pillaging, burning, and taking. Never accomplishing shit other than being a goddamn savage. The so-called image of civil rights, you're still dealing with mobs and massacres. Fighting for basic fucking rights, when you get it, it was really makeup for a problem that didn't go away. And the people that spoke up about it, they shot them in the goddamn face or the chest. Or both. Every single group that ever tried to do anything had to deal with government interference. Black people are the only people the government conspires against, and there's a long history of it. But when I look at the Black Panthers, man, it should have been something that we should have been able to partake in when we were coming up, because it would have been widespread by then. And once again, before we even get there, just like any other black group, they never attacked anybody. They defended themselves when y'all didn't act right. The only thing you had to do is not be a piece of shit. That's it. And they couldn't do that. That's really what this all boils down to. Stop telling us what we can't do, nigga. Yes, we're going to kill you. How dare you complain? You can complain, but do it in a way that I approve of. What is this organization? We didn't tell y'all to do this. Niggas with guns, we can't have that. But when I think about what that should have been, if not for white interference, there's so, you know what, I forget. Back to the Garveyites and Marcus Garvey and what he was trying to do. If you would have left that alone, the position we be in right now, Tulsa and everybody that was building, when we were building when those weak, pathetic motherfuckers were falling apart because of the Depression, that was white shit. We coming out of slavery, the Depression meant nothing to us. That was white shit. Sorry, it was. Black people were striving at the time, and what did they do? The only thing they know how to do, lash out and act like savages. Same thing they did on January 6th, that if they didn't participate in it, they acted like they didn't see the shit. So same motherfuckers. Just look at the behavior. Yeah, look at the behavior. Look what they got in the White House. Motherfuckers are there. At any rate, let me move on. But the Black Panther Party, I want to get into the 10-point plan, but not right at the beginning, because I have a thought on everything that was on there. And again, I'd just like to know how looking at that warranted the label that the Panthers got as a hate group. But the founders, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale's a former military. Real quick, and there are some things that I'm going to allow Bobby Seale to speak on in his own voice a little bit later in the show. after I just do a brief history and just my thoughts on some of the things that I found interesting. Obviously, can't get into everything, but just the part of the history I thought that was interesting. But Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton met in 1961 at Merritt College. Again, both college students, both intelligent young men. And it's notable that, again, when they did this and started the Black Panther Party, we're talking about 20-year-olds, people, early 20s. Talking about two men in their early 20s that started something that's so impactful that I'm talking about it today. That's extremely impressive. And what it could have and should have been, if not for the interference of ignorant ass people that don't want to help, but they also don't want you to help yourself. They met at Merritt College and had a common interest then when they both protested along with others against a Pioneer Day celebration, where the college celebrated the so-called pioneers that came to California, but we all know the black people actually settled the West and cowboys were actually black people. But again, let me stay focused. And they protested the fact that African Americans were omitted from the settling of the West because they understood the history. Again, another point that I think is extremely valid. Knowing the history, having a sense of self, and speaking about it, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you know the history, you won't accept so much bullshit, which is why they're making it illegal now, which is why it's detrimental that we teach the history and keep it alive, because the only thing they're going to attempt to do is kill it. I'm looking at something I didn't do, but that's fine. So they were protesting Pioneer Day. Also, they belong to a group called the Negro History Fact Group. The Negro History Fact Group. Early 60s, obviously came up in the 50s, kind of, grew up really in the 50s, their formidable years. Early 60s in college. And they're part of the Negro History Fact Group. Even then, an awareness and a need to know the true history and understanding how important it was, and protesting that in college. As a member of this group, they called on the school to offer classes in Black history. Something else that I think is valid and warranted, you can go back to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, who brought in a Malcolm X and a Louis Farrakhan and influenced so many others, Khalid Abdul Muhammad, because everything is a fruit from the tree. So I think it's important to note that these groups, if you go back to Marcus Garvey and the Garveyites, Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites. They were part of that movement. That influenced Malcolm X, who was influenced by Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm X influenced countless people, including Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. So the need for people to act and to speak out and to have influence and to be heard and to be seen, the need for the truth to be spoken is extreme, because if not, maybe you don't get a Louis Farrakhan, you don't get a Malcolm X, you don't get an Elijah Muhammad, if you don't get whoever his teacher was, or let me just back off of that. But if you don't get those teachings, if you don't get him influencing Farrakhan, influencing Malcolm X, who influenced others, if you don't get Marcus Garvey, who influenced probably all of them with what he was attempting to do, maybe you don't get all of these people. One thing I think leads to another. So that's why I think it's always important to speak truthfully and not to sugarcoat it, because people are listening and you want to influence them in the way that and Elijah Muhammad was influenced. Whoever influenced Marcus Garvey to go about it the way that he did. Well, whoever. I did something on his background. He really, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think he saw some type of, he grew up like doing, God, man, what was it? He belonged to this group and they were kind of going around and kind of helping out people. It was almost like a little merchant type deal. But he was going around and he kind of saw the world and saw some things, and he saw people kind of gain independence in the way they went about it, and that's what influenced him. He sees that, he brings that to America and influences the parents of a Malcolm X, who goes on to be influenced by Elijah Muhammad, and he influences so many others. Farrakhan, who influenced so many others. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who influenced so many others. So many other people that I don't have the ability to name right now, that influenced so many others just because they were able to speak out and voice their opinion and spread the truth, and it has an impact. So it had an impact on Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale as well. That's why they were part of that group. That's why they went about went about it the way they did in college, just being organized. The assassination of Malcolm X was something that helped to impact and prompt the founding of the Black Panther Party. Founded in October 1966 by Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. Now, again, very young men, intelligent men. Bobby Seale with the military background. And what I was going to say about Bobby Seale, because I don't have this particular soundbite. He said that when he was in the military, he was in the Air Force, and he was about to get upgraded. A little racist white soldier didn't like it and said some foul shit to him. And he said, not being politically intelligent, he beat the shit out of him and got bust down, worked his way back up. And a corporal was talking crazy to him on some racist bullshit. He got into it with him, and they kicked him out of the Air Force. So he spoke about the military in a way that he did say he benefited from the discipline that he learned and some other things that he learned how to do. Very good with his hands. And I have a couple of things where he talks about his background, but he gave the military credit for that and spoke about what he got from it. But he also spoke about the fact that it was a racist organization, no different than him living out in America. So that was his experience in the military, but he had that along with the fact that he was intelligent, well-read, well-studied, along with Huey P. Newton, who actually was illiterate and learned how to read later, but we're not focusing on him today. So just again, for me, that's extremely impressive. And the primary function of the Black Panther Party was to monitor police activities in Oakland and other cities. And again, this was necessary because of the behavior of the police department. I'm going to let Bobby Seale, in his own words, talk about the effectiveness of them policing the police department and also California's response to that. But again, the Black Panther Party did not attack anybody. They didn't preach hate. They actually preached unity to a degree for anybody who was willing to basically do what was right. So the image of them and the labeling of them as one of the biggest threats in America to American society by the pale inbred Backdoria self-hating savage, it just wasn't founded. It just wasn't founded. He could have put that indictment on just your average white American back then, and it would have been more valid than dealing with the Panthers. It really, at the end of the day, was just about, how dare you do something without our permission? We don't approve of this. For obvious reasons, the Panthers drew widespread support and spread out as far as Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia by 1968. And this is a low number by 68, but in 1968, the Black Panthers had over 2,000 members across the country. Now, just think about people that are excited now to have some followers and shit. But how about having ideology and being organized and having a true plan and true good intent and being able to spread something that positive and that necessary across the country? Imagine the need for it, that there's such a need for it that you have the ability to do that. You really have to put that shit into perspective. It's a hell of an accomplishment, even in these early stages, by these two young men. Hell of an accomplishment. And it really shows the deep need for something, the fact that they were able to do that in the first place. And this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. And again, I'm just speaking about something that doesn't get talked about enough. There are just different aspects of our history that, have been thrown to the side and mislabeled and misrepresented. Again, I'm sure they had great intentions with the movie Panther, but man, it did you can't show everything in a couple of hours, however long the movie was, but inadequate, man. Very inadequate. After I look into it, I'm like, that movie needs to be remade properly. But you're not going to be able to do that with Hollywood. It has to be an independent venture, and nowadays, quite frankly, we should be able to pull that off. Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton, they watched the civil rights movement, and it was frustrating. They watched the civil rights movement and they found it to be frustrating, which is another influence to start the organization. And another reason why they believed in why it was originally named the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Because again, there was a need for self-defense, and it didn't make sense to protest and get the hell beat out of you again for protesting. Again, ignorant ass, non-bathing, sister fucking savages attacking black people for not doing what's warranted, which is killing a whole lot of y'all. If you know the history, that was very much warranted. We weren't doing that, just protesting. Stop being a piece of shit. Stop being a piece of shit. They were actually singing some shit like We Shall Overcome, but strictly protesting. And what are you doing? You getting attacked, dog sicked on you, biting on you, dog sicked on you, biting at your private parts and all this shit, fire hoses fucking you up. That shit wasn't cute. It looked cute on film, but it wasn't. And for what? For protesting. Let's see. Does that still? Sounds familiar. Again, nothing has changed. The reason why things aren't better is because they're not doing anything wrong. You're not going to tell us we can't have fun. We like attacking black people when they dare to stand up for what is right. That's America. How dare you do that? And every time it happens, it's always the same shit. Stupid ass white people acting crazy because people are protesting. So that's another reason why the Black Panther Party for self-defense believed in defending themselves, because you can't protest otherwise. So it's just a means to an end. I can't protest because they won't let us. It's not about violence. It's about it's necessary because you're so goddamn worthless. We're just trying to protest and talk and tell you the problem, and you're trying to attack us. Take these 12-gauge shotgun shells. You deserve them. Just stand the fuck down. All the problems in this country are because these motherfuckers won't stand the fuck down. Everything I look into, that's all it is. Let me stay focused. Forgive me for that pause. Some of the things that there are some things that I'm going to allow Bobby Seale to say that I'm going to kind of not dive into. So there are some details I'm going to allow, his verbiage to say, but that's the only reason I'm pausing. I'm trying to see how much this actually want to say. Now, this is when I'll get into the 10-point program. And from the 10-point program and the Black Panthers simply defending themselves from police brutality. This is why they were labeled a hate group by a group of people that hated black people in the first place. But the 10-point program, this is what got them labeled as a quote-unquote hate group. We want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our black community. We don't want this government and locally illustrated ability for all of these people outside of our neighborhood to come in and have stores and businesses in our neighborhood. The fact that you give them the advantage economically with these little side deals, this economic platform you never gave to us and refused to get us, to the point where in most of our neighborhoods, we don't own the businesses and the stores and whatnot. And the black people that try to own one, they have to charge a little bit more than everybody else because of the way it's set up and the way that in the tax breaks and the things that they allow these cats, they got the stores in the neighborhood. There's a reason. It's not because we're done. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. So they wanted those motherfuckers out the community and the ability to determine what happens in our community. That's an understanding that you're not even allowing us to have a community. Everybody else, Chinatown, little this, all this bullshit. But they always fucking with us. They never allowed us to have that. And when we did have that, they destroyed it. And again, they don't talk about that in history. They don't give any compensation. And you got the descendants of the people that did it saying, no, I don't see a case here. Case dismissed. And it's just business as usual. It's fucking insane. But that's the first point in the 10-point plan. Control of the community. The power to determine the destiny of our own community. And if you look at it, most city councils and boards are a bunch of white people and a few black people that are part of that community that they usually use that just go along with everything. Don't have numbers to vote, so they pretty much just use it as a benefit and do what they can do. It's ineffective the majority of the time unless you're in a majority black city. And even then, we want full employment for our people. We're talking about the 60s. We want full employment for our people. Extremely biased, inadequate pay, unequal pay. Affirmative action was made not because we needed help, because we're inadequate. We obviously outdo them in everything that we get an opportunity to do. History proves that. It was necessary because without it, they weren't going to do right by themselves. So get that part straight. So that's the reason for that. It makes all the sense in the world for me. 3, we want an end to robbery by the capitalists of our black community. You wanted the government out of our shit. Because again, every time they tried to do anything, it was interfered with. Essentially our own sovereign land to a degree. Leave us the fuck alone. Deserve that at the bare minimum, considering the history of the country. And again, this is relevant now, but again, we're talking about 1966. 4, we want decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. They redlined neighborhoods and made it hard for black people to get housing even when they qualified for it. Very relevant. You can look at different sides of town and tell the upkeep. You have the ability to do better nowadays, but it was extremely relevant then. So that's why, again, this was a very valid point, because you weren't given the opportunity to buy houses even when you could afford it. You had certain limits as to where they let you buy housing at. Point 5, we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. Stop giving us this edited bullshit ass history that's meant to depict you in a hero way, in a hero form that you don't deserve to be in. We want the true history of the country, all the shit you lie about, and we want our true contribution to this society, which they do not tell. I'm really trying to figure out the hate part of any of this. But again, black people speaking for themselves and standing up sounds like hate to a psychopath. Point 6, we want all black men to be exempt from military service. The mistreatment, the racism, the fact that you want us to defend the country that we don't have equal rights in this country, and you want us in the military, you goddamn right, that is a valid point. I haven't heard anything that sounds crazy to me yet. Everything makes perfect sense to me. This is the 60s, correct? I can't come through the front door, segregation, back of the bus, but you want me to fight for a country that doesn't fight for me? You out of your goddamn mind. 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. 1966, it's 2026, 60 years later, same goddamn problem. 1966, we want an end to police brutality. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. They're not stopping because they don't want to. They enjoy this shit. They didn't say they want death to all the white people that deserve it. Just leave us the fuck alone. That's the only thing we've ever asked. They always talk about you want a handout. No, leave us the fuck alone. If you look at every one of these instances, it's fucking interference.
Hope those white bitches get tear gassed.
Asking for an end to police brutality in 1966. 60 years later, same shit. Point 8, we want freedom for all black men in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. Yeah, because they're in a biased system where they never had a jury of their peers, with a bunch of people that hate them in an unjust, biased, racist, ignorant ass court system that still exists to this day, 60 goddamn years later. because they'd rather go all out and doing everything they can to stop the Black Panthers than just stop being assholes. And again, I think if you understand this history, you understand who you're with, and you don't fall for so much propaganda and look for them for all their advice. To this day, with the way that these people are, the way the news covers things and doesn't cover things, you can see a psychotic white person shoot up a movie theater and they'll give you a positive story about him. A black man gets murdered by the police, they tell you he smoked weed. And he had a speeding ticket that he had a warrant for. But yet and still, when they attack a black person and shit on them, black people still say dumb shit like, well, if they keep talking about it, it must be true. So if a bunch of untrustworthy, ignorant, worthless, sister fucking non-bathing motherfuckers keep saying the same shit, it has to be a fact. I think if you understand the history of the country and the behavior and the fact that all they really had to do was stop being an asshole. All they're asking you to do is let us have our own community, get the fuck out of our business, stop redlining and fucking up shit, allow us to have housing, allow us to have good jobs so we can afford things for our family, and get the goddamn police off our fucking neck. And their answer was hate group. Okay. Point 9, we want all black people, when brought to trial, to be tried by a jury of their peer group or people from the black communities as defined by the Constitution of the United States. A jury full of white people is not our peers, not with their inherent biases. And the fact that if you tell them they're biased and can point it out, the only thing they do is get mad and claim racism. That is pure psychopathy and a big fuck you. And they don't want to do that. They're like, no, I need to be on the jury. Absolutely fucking insane. But none of these requests are hate-filled. Nothing here exhibits hate that I can see. Let's see if there's some hate in this one. We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Jesus Christ, what a fucking terrorist group. I found it interesting that, and again, if I'm wrong about that movie, I don't remember them talking about the 10-point plan in the movie. I could be wrong. I don't know why I moved that image. But I don't remember them talking about the 10-point plan in the movie. But it seems like that would have been a relevant part of the movie to bring up. I remember them mentioning the 10-point plan, but not just laying it out. And I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. And again, there's some details about that I'm going to let Bobby Seale give the details on that. Oops, wait a minute. That is the wrong place to be. Let's get out of there. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, Ed Ninja. I'm going to read chat in a second, but a couple of more things here before I move on. The Black Panthers emphasized black pride, community control, and unification for civil rights. And that was really the problem. They wanted the community control, and they wanted to be unified to get said control. And it was and that's something that's not talked about with the Black Panthers enough. Extremely organized. Extremely organized. And I think this is what the cross-dressing face down, ass up ass savage feared the most. But there were a lot of things to fear. I mean, people like yourself, but it's what Malcolm X always said. They don't want to stop. They don't want us to stop suffering. They just want us to do it peacefully. And if we don't, there's outrage. And that behavior hasn't stopped if you look. In the 1970s, the FBI launched COINTELPRO efforts against the Black Panthers. And again, to see the description of what they call that, the government conspired to destroy the Black Panthers because they dared to stand up for themselves. And because of the fear that they have of getting what they deserve, the effort they put into fucking with us, man, this country could actually be something. The effort they put into fucking with us.
America's so worried about black folks. America's so worried about black folks. You're gonna get us in trouble.
One more thing, and again, a lot of these details I'm going to allow Bobby Seale to say. The Black Panthers started community and social programs, including the free breakfast program, free health clinics in 13 cities and communities across the United States. Now, and there's a couple of details left out on that. Multiple breakfast programs across the country where they fed people in need. Food programs. Health clinics for people that couldn't afford it. What they called preventative health clinics. Taking care of things early so it doesn't become a problem later. So the Black Panthers protected Black people from the police attacking them. Fed Black people, educated Black people. They also opened schools. I remember watching an interview where there was this individual that actually went to a Panther school, and he talked about the different education that they received. And I was envious. They opened schools, community programs. They taught, they educated, they taught discipline. They did this across the country. It was an extremely organized effort and an impressive effort that should have went down in history as such, if not for the interference of the worst fucking people that have ever lived. The Black Panther Party was an incredible organization that captured the heart and the passion of multiple Black people again, because Malcolm X was assassinated, Dr. King was assassinated, and both of these things helped to spark the fuel that inflamed the Black Panther Party and the way that it spread in the late 60s. Bobby Seale is going to mention that a little bit later, but these actions helped to fuel that. They had taken out the so-called threatening leader and even the so-called peaceful leader. Not because they were organizing groups that were killing white people by the thousands. Again, justified, but it wasn't happening. Because they dared to speak up. You really need to put that into perspective and think about how fucked up you have to be to have a problem with people speaking up. Not they should really be like, thank you for not doing to us what we deserve. And such is not the case. I really don't have a lot of empathy for that, which is why, again, I don't get why people mix words and speak about things and make them so damn palatable when you're justified in simply calmly and intelligently telling the truth. But again, very impressed with what the Black Panther Party stood for and what they were able to accomplish. Now, we're talking about problems with the Panther Party when it got into issues. We're talking about COINTELPRO, the exact same thing that they did to Marcus Garvey. The first two Black people to ever be in the FBI were hired to infiltrate and destroy Marcus Garvey and Garveyism and the Garveyites. So when they talk about all of the problems that he had, they conveniently leave out the government interfering, lying, having people writing letters, pretending like they're this person, that person, causing dissension. They did that with Marcus Garvey. They did that with Malcolm X, Dr. King, with everybody. Again, that's why it's so impressive what Farrakhan has going, because you know they're trying their best and the motherfuckers can't get there. So there's something to be said about the example that they set and the way that they function. Because you know damn well this government's trying to get to Farrakhan and they can't fucking do it. And then again, they might know if they do that, there's going to be a fucking price to pay. But again, I digress. COINTELPRO broke up the Black Panther Party. For all the bullshit they try to talk about inside dissension and fights amongst the Panthers, and they were doing this and that, that was all the goddamn FBI and who. If left alone to their own devices, that could have been a beautiful thing and a great part of American history if these motherfuckers weren't so scary. That should have grown and flourished and still been around today. Instead, they strategically took out anybody that had anything to do with it. Every instance that I look into, it's the same shit. And I'm just saying that to say you can't tell if you don't talk about the actual problem, then they're going to do the same shit when we get something else going. I just don't see the intelligence in it. And again, we're not doing what they're doing. I'm not going to Buffalo, or I'm not going to a Whole Foods and looking to take out 10 or 12 white people like they did in Buffalo, taking out 10 black people that the news never saw, never talked about. I'm not trying to do what they did in Jacksonville. I'm not trying to do what dude did in South Carolina, going into a black church and killing people. You haven't seen any black person go into a white church and start killing people. We're not fucking savages. So if we're going to talk about the goddamn problem, you got to mention the fucking problem. It's not us. We're not stupid. We're not dumb. We're not self-destructive. We're constantly being fucked with. We're the only group that is literally attacked by the government every time we try to do any goddamn thing. The only thing they sanction, if they sanction it, is bullshit because they only sanction something they have control of. The NAACP doesn't do a fucking thing outside of criticize black movies, black comedians, and black fucking music. When the last time you heard them say something about Trump? January 6th. White people that rape. When the last time you heard them say anything about anybody white? It's fucking ridiculous. Any organization that's actually worth a damn gets criticized. And again, we're so lost. And again, if we understood the history, I don't think they could just throw all that bullshit out in the papers and make people believe what they want them to believe if you know who these people are. But the Black Panther movement was strategically broke down by the FBI and COINTELPRO. And again, a lot of the details, there's a lot more of it, but I'm going to allow Bobby Seale to speak on that. Before I do that, let's go ahead and read some of this chat. Then I'm going to just have a little quick Q&A with Bobby Seale and everything that he had to say in a rally in Boston in 1969. And during this rally, I believe Huey P. Newton was under arrest for defending himself against the police that in a traffic stop, somehow they ended up in a shootout. So you know exactly what that was. And again, before I jump off of it, the Black Panther Party had to defend themselves because every office that they had got attacked. They were constantly harassed. Because they were attacking white people? No. Because they monitored police so they couldn't beat up, attack, and shoot black people. And that enraged America. How dare you not allow us to do what means more to us than anything? How dare you? Whooping y'all's ass is damn near more important than breathing. And they were met with a backlash. I don't want to hear that statement, we're our own worst enemy. That's a goddamn lie. Snuggle said, what else did America steal from the Black Panthers other than the free substance program that you see in schools? The free substance program that you see in schools across the country. But it's hard to give them credit for that when you're dumb, when your dumb electorate continues to compare them to the KKK. And again, this is shit that pisses me off. But great point, Sluggo. And let me read that one more time. What else did America steal from the Black Panthers other than the free, I want to say you might have said free lunch program that you see in schools across the country? But it's hard to give them credit for that when your dumb electorate continues to compare them to the KKK. And again, crazy ass crackers attacking black people for no other reason than wanting equality and not being under your thumb anymore. A hate group that hates black people for nothing other than wanting a better life. A bunch of worthless, ignorant bastards that deserve to die. Yeah, I said that. The Panthers were defending themselves from ignorant bastards, and they're compared to a hate group. Once again, white people are not capable of judging us properly. It's always going to be fucked up if we're in this world where we pretend like they're not biased. It's stupid to do so. They can't help themselves. If they were semi-decent, we still wouldn't be having these goddamn problems. I didn't say great. I didn't say good. I said semi-fucking-decent. For this shit to go on this long, you have to have some measure of evil in you or ingrained ignorance. Me even saying this will infuriate them, but they can watch a nigga get killed by the police and justify it by saying, he didn't comply. That's pure fucking evil. Black people are in a position mentally where we should feel that way and we don't, because God didn't make us fucked up. If you really stop and think about that, it should allow you to understand the mentality of who you're dealing with. Because as much as they've done, we still don't act like them. So how fucking crazy are these motherfuckers? And again, to the people it applies to, it applies. I just saw a bunch of non-baby motherfuckers attack the goddamn country they say they love. The behavior hasn't changed. And the people that didn't do it acted like they didn't fucking see it. And these same people are pissed off when a black person says something that's true that they don't want to hear. And what's really fucked up is a lot of us actually care. It's fucking insane. I digress. Being compared to the KKK, incredible. Black people defending themselves is the same as hate groups that hang and cut the nuts off a black person. Okay. Thank you. Birth of a Nation. Nate Parker, thank you. And I think I jumped across. Sluggo said, there's a never-ending line of super niggas who will line up and bastardize our history through historical films. Oh, it's so many of them. And it's infuriating. And there's no outrage. It's wild to me that there's really no outrage for it. They can do it and get away with putting some type of black director who's cool with it. And it just slides by. The descendants of the people that committed the atrocities deciding how and when our history is told. I'm not going to okay it unless you do it the way I want it done. Thank you, Sluggo. Nate Parker, Birth of a Nation. He made Birth of a Nation, and white America attacked him severely. They had way more hate for them than they did for this rapist, pedophile, piece of shit in the White House that all of these ignorant, worthless motherfuckers supported. Y'all ain't shit. I love the country. Okay, man. I'm not going to start on y'all dumb motherfuckers. Sluggo said, I think he should have been unapologetic at the end of Birth of a Nation. I agree. And I agree. Let me not go there. But I agree. I think with the way it would still be hard to do, but it would have to be an independent thing. That would have to be underground, almost like a mixtape, because if Hollywood has anything to do with it, they're going to fuck it up. They put a nigga named Bigger Long in the Harriet Tubman story because there's nowhere in hell you were going to focus on white people being fucked up. And the response from black people is, there were people like that. Yes, but this is fictional and they just put it in there. Why are you okay with that? That deserves outrage. You know what doesn't deserve outrage? Claiming that black men put Trump in the White House. Was so fucked up mentally. Otherwise, intelligent and productive black people are so cowardice when it comes to calling out white America for fucking up the country. They put him in there. But you're scared to say that out loud. That shit's incredible to me. I don't get that. You can't find a way to articulate yourself in an intelligent manner to get across the point that when you're short-sighted and you elect somebody that just reminds you of your ignorant ass granddaddy, that it could fuck things up. You actually should hire people that are qualified, or at least admit that the Democrats didn't do a good job of putting a candidate for it. You're always trying to make some goofy ass statement pretending like this is a country of sane people. We're here with psychopaths. Let's run a woman, nonetheless a black woman. I'm sure they'll vote for her. And when it doesn't happen because it was a dumb technique in the first place, pretending like white America was going to vote for her, then we're going to turn around and blame black men. The frustration you feel if you actually have any common sense listening to this shit is incredible. I can't believe it. So they continue to fuck up and you still find a way to say black men did this. Dude, stop listening to everything you see on social media and the paper. To this day, what is fucked up is the damn media machine is, and these people are, they can put something on TV or put something in the media and most black people will believe it. I'll never understand that shit. And again, if we had history and a sense of the history of the country, I think it might be better. I mean, a lot of people, I think our parents' age, you really can't tell them the news isn't real. Most of them, especially like our grandparents and stuff, the news is the news. So it never really crosses their mind that people that would hang and cut the nuts off of niggas and deprive them of their rights and attack them when they dare to stand up for themselves, it doesn't cross their mind that they would lie. It's fucking incredible to me, but okay. I'm sorry. Let me read chat. Thank you. That's a good way to put it. Sluggo said they portray Harriet as a quasi Aunt Jemima figure. Exactly. Harriet Tubman killed motherfuckers. How do you think he did that shit? With fucking luck, white help, God? Yeah, I'm sure there was a higher power involved, but she had to kill motherfuckers, black and white. Because if you weren't willing to come, you were finna go tell master, boom, to the fucking head. You know how many white people she had to kill? And she went back to get some more. But they don't talk about that. Every picture you see of her, she should have a shotgun. You know what else should be there? All the men that were around as well. They don't give you the imagery of men killing white people for a reason. They don't give you the image of her doing it. It's just her saying, come on, let's go. You don't see her killing people like she did. And you don't see all the men that kill motherfuckers getting where they were going. Happily and deservingly so. Justifiably so. Sidney Jackson said, I remember all those. Oh, okay. I remember all those bread wrenches. I was trying to figure out why you did. I remember all those bread wrenches. Censored to get past censors. I got you. Turn on Nate Parker because the Saltines told them, because of what the Saltines told them when he was trying to promote his movie. Even that compromised, oh, wow. Let me go back. Thank you, Sydney. That's well said and well spoken. Let me go back to that. Sidney Jackson said, I remember all of those bread wenches. That's funny. And I was going to say that. I'm glad you're saying it. Turned on Nate Parker because the Saltines told them, because of what the Saltines told them when he was trying to promote his movie. Even that compromised, who-foot, worthless broad Oprah told him he needed a good Nabisco person in his film. And that's the shit I'm talking about. Why the fuck do the descendants of the worst people that have ever lived to brutalize our ancestors now get to tell us how we tell our story? That's bullshit. If you're going to be outraged and stand up for something, stand up for that. Instead, this bitch criticizing Ludacris for lyrics. And the average black woman get mad at us if we call her a bitch. We're completely fucked up. Women support each other to a fault to a degree, but not just women, but any political figure, it's like you don't even watch what they're doing or not doing. And any accountability, you do that white people shit where you throw a tantrum when all we're doing is answering questions. You do realize that's what they do. That's another reason to discuss me. Getting mad when I'm pointing something out and trying to have a discussion, that is an American thing. And you know what I mean when I say that. Okay, you know what? It's those things got to go. My apologies. Sluggo said, Coonan has a shelf life that rivals cow milk, but they still haven't figured that out yet. And they did that shit to homie, W.B. Du Bois. They used him to shit on Marcus Garvey, but when he dared to have an opinion about what they were doing concerning the country, like, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? We brought you here to shit on other black people. Get your black ass out of the country. I think they accused him of something. That nigga, he spent out the rest of his days in Africa. Ironically, where Marcus Garvey wanted to go back to, and he talked about how crazy that was. So, I mean, just see how they don't tell that part of his story. Oh, he founded the NAACP, and what did y'all do to him after that? Okay. Sluggo said, after the majority of us come together, we're going to need to eliminate a bunch of folks who look like us. Otherwise, we'll get nothing accomplished. I didn't realize how bad them shades were hindering my sight. Sluggo, preach. Preaching. Right now, I don't got that clip going, so preach, sir, preach.
Amen, preacher!
All of y'all been preaching, and I've been slipping on the sound bite, so let me give a bomb drop for what I've heard thus far. JBJ said, had to help the little ninja with proportions. Hey, sir, that's way more important. That's way more important. And Sluggo, what you said is exactly right. And again, when I had that show and I talked about it, I said we got to do three things. And I don't think I even finished that point. I got to stop doing that. The three things we have to do is come together, which is going to take a long time. Secondly, we have to have an agreement on what our issue is or what our issues are. And thirdly, we have to agree on how to attack said issues. And that is a long ass process. Coming together is a long process. Determining our problem and our issues is going to be an argument because white people need to be involved or America in the way they treat us, but some people are going to ignore that. Some people are going to say shit like we need to get closer to God. Some people are going to say we need to capitulate and just go with the program and do it within the system. And those three arguing points are going to have, there's going to be an intense discussion with just those 3 points. And there are going to be some more thrown in. And even if you, and then once you agree on that, you have to determine what you want to do. Some people are going to want to be very, very intentional in their actions. Some people are going to want a lot of compromise, which basically leads to taking whatever they give us. And some people, again, might want to come at it from more of a spiritual standpoint. Let's say it like that. There's going to be so many discussions and intense discussions that you have to fight to keep from breaking up the group. And on top of that, there's going to be all type of white interference, sending people in there to fuck it up. You're going to be harassed, all of that shit. And you have to be mentally prepared for that because they're 100% going to do it. If they put this much effort into improving this country, this place would be a goddamn paradise. The effort they put into fucking with us, if they actually put that into improving this country and improving themselves, this might actually be America the Beautiful. JBJ said, Ravens told the meth head Crosby, thanks, but no thanks. You're a devil. Again, a football thing, but they did tell him that, sir.
You're a devil.
Thanks, but no thanks.
You're a devil.
Sluggo laughed and he said, upgraded or promoted? I'm not sure what I said at that time. Sidney Jackson says, Sluggo, I remember seeing the same thing. The first gun laws were to stop the Panthers. And again, the only reason I didn't bring this up, I'm going to let Bobby Seale talk about it later. But, okay, recently, again, it's the same shit with these people. Recently, when black people started getting their pistol permit, what did a lot of states or most red states do? You no longer need a pistol permit. It's all good. Everybody can get it. Why? Because if niggas are going to have guns, then we're not going to stop anybody. And they've always been that way. When the Panthers dared to defend themselves, instead of fixing the goddamn problem with the police, they made it illegal to carry guns and do it in the manner that they were doing it because they didn't want them to protect themselves. And the police out there are still as fucked up as they've ever been. And the only thing that's going to fix it is what the Panthers were doing. Attack when being attacked without hesitation. After a while, they'll realize being a piece of shit just isn't worth it. And the rest of them, hopefully, will catch the bullet from somebody they're harassing. But you cannot reason with a goddamn psychopath. It's been 60 goddamn years. And that's on the short end. But since the founding of the Panthers, 60 years asking for the exact same shit. Sidney Jackson says, Sluggo, I remember seeing the same thing. No, I read that. My bad. Sluggo agreeing. Sluggo said, it's still warranted. Too bad we're not as savage as they portray us to be. Preach. Preach, sir. Preach. If black people were half as savage as we were portrayed to be, there would be no white people left.
Woo, Jesus. Woo, Jesus. That's why I know there's a God. That's why I know there's a God.
Sluggo said the local government does its job of obstructing the business efforts of black people. 100% true. But that's not part of the conversation. It's the same thing that happened with the election. Otherwise intelligent and productive black people when the issue is right in front of you, they always find a way to work it back to, we did it, it's our fault, or black men, you did it. Every time, no matter what the fuck happens. It's absolutely crazy. One of the most infuriating things to hear is, that's why they act like that, because we do stuff like that. So whenever a black person does something that's negative, all of a sudden we're we. That's white shit. You're doing what they do. That is a white narrative. When it's negative, you're saying we. You don't say we when something positive gets accomplished by a black person. Do you even think white? Do you even wonder why you think like that at all? It's so fucking programmed. Lost my damn point. I was about to make a fucking point. I'll get off of that shit now because I can't fucking remember what I was about to say. But the fuck it. Let me just read the chat so I can go on, because that was something I was going to say, because I didn't finish the point earlier and you brought it back to me, but I forgot that fast. Oh, again, just that you cannot fix the problem. James Baldwin, everything that's faced cannot be changed, but nothing can be changed when it isn't faced. And I'm paraphrasing, but if your knee is hurt and every time you go to the doctor, they're working all around your knee and they're never touching your knee, you're still going to be limping, man. And I don't understand how the fuck we think we're going to fix the problem when we ignore the underlying hate that America has for black people. It's one of the very few traditions they hold to. Patriotism and all that is a goddamn lie. If you look throughout history, black people are better patriots and better Christians than white people have ever fucking been to this day. You have to address the issue if you want to fix something. There is evidence in every situation that we ever try to get anything done, white interference, every single time, with no exceptions. With no exceptions, which lets you know they could stop these worthless white hate groups if they wanted to. They could have easily stopped January 6th. They didn't want to. And you still got people screaming, let's fix things through this crooked ass government with crooked ass fucking people. Bobby Seale spoke on why it was half a victory for desegregation and half a victory when the Panthers were able to get people elected locally and federally. And I'll play that later, and if I don't have it, I'll speak on what he said. But it's the same thing that we've said. And judging by these short-sighted people nowadays, you would just scream at him, you're voting for Trump. No, he's being politically intelligent, and most people aren't. You get a bunch of screaming, you get misrepresentation, grown-ass 50-plus-year-old men acting like bitches, saying dumb shit like, why are you talking about it? Let me translate that. I'm not intelligent enough to have a conversation. I refuse to study, and I just don't want you to say it. What is that? That's white America shit. That's the same thing. That's the same shit. That's why it frustrates me. All that shit that people usually say when they don't want to talk about things, you go with that white America thing that they always bring up whenever one of our leaders tried to have a conversation. They played victim, scream racism, wanted to attack, claiming that you're a conversation. That's fine. It's mad at people for having an intelligent conversation because they're not smart enough to do any research. That is such Caucasian behavior. I'm sorry for ranting. I'm 2 weeks late on it. I've had this fucking subject for like 2.5 weeks, and I kept losing my opportunity to talk about it. Sluggo said Fred Hampton was big on exposing America's hypocrisy. Facts. And Fred Hampton should be part 3 if everything goes correctly. Sluggo said they know that we should seek revenge on what has been done against us. It's akin to bombing other countries in order to prevent retaliation of their evil deeds against them. Again, help. Sick help. Sluggo said that's why they keep us from organizing and building. Facts. That I always hear that, we have to do for ourselves and all that. We've done that plenty of times. But if you don't talk about the fact that they hate us to the point where they're always going to find a way to fuck it up, then how are we going to prevent it from happening again? You have to stop with all this. The fact that so many ninjas didn't say, hey, what are y'all doing? I thought we need to win this election. Y'all were screaming win at all costs. Why are you running a woman and why are you running a black woman if you want to win at all costs? And when I say that, instead of being intelligent, the average bitch nigga will say, I hate women. No, I see America for what it is. You're too busy looking at movies and shit. If you believe for 1 second they were going to vote for a woman, nonetheless a black woman, over an ignorant motherfucker that reminded them of their grandfather, then you're stupid. I know that, and I'm not a damn political strategist. It was the easiest thing to see coming. And afterwards, nobody's talking about that. The only thing that's being talked about is black men. They can turn us any way they want us. There is no independent thinking whatsoever. Let me turn on the TV so I can see how to feel. Let me look at my phone so I can see how I feel. Nobody fucking thinks anymore. People that I respect even said that stupid shit on social media. Hey, y'all, Kamala warned us what was going to happen. Jesus fucking, you know what? I'm sorry. Back to the chat. Sydney said, preach, Sluggo, and when a group does rise up, the group is watered down by other demographics. See BLM, Black Lives Matter, being infested with bull dagger studs. You stop that.
Sick help. Sick help.
Boy, you stupid. You stupid. But you know what? That is brilliant, and I will oblige. That is brilliant, and I will oblige. Boy, you a damn fool. Let me continue. Sydney said, has Nate Parker been whiteballed? I haven't seen him in a long time. I think he has. And I would hope and wish that a black person would reach out and put him in something, because what he did was necessary. And again, this country is so pathetic. Those people are so damn fragile and weak that they attack anybody that dares to tell the truth. Again, like Oprah said, put somebody white and nice in it. Instead of standing up for what is right, you're justifying bullshit, because those are the people that allow you to have the show that you use to shit on black men a lot. But, do your thing. Do your thing. You can't even say that without people screaming, Oprah help all kind of people. Yes, you do. And she attacked Ludacris. That was so stupid. A party rapper. You attacked Ludacris for lyrics. Simple-minded bitch, but you don't have anything to say about that pedophile you got pictures with, right? You hate black women. Y'all simple-minded motherfucker. Okay, man. I'm sorry, I digress. What is... okay. And this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Sluggo said, good question, Sydney. I haven't heard anything about Nate Parker since that film. Sluggo said, America is going to give you a fictitious character, big or long, to place blame where it doesn't belong. Thank you. That is so goddamn evil. If German people were making Jewish movies and telling them how to depict the fucked up German history, there would be outrage. But the same black people that would stand up for Jewish people that don't give a fuck about them won't say a goddamn thing for their own fucking ancestors. We're in a toxic ass environment.
Sorry, motherfucker.
Let me check something right quick. That sounded a little loud. Where's the no? The volume's where it needs to be. Okay, we're good. Sidney Jackson once again. Preach, Sluggo, and when a group does rise up, the group is watered down by other demographics. See Black Lives Matter being infested with bull dagger studs.
Where your strap at? I'll bite your strap. Look at your strap, bitch. I'll throw up on the strap, bitch. I'll throw up on the I'll bite the tip off the strap. Look at the... Where your strap at? I'll bite your strap. Look at your strap, bitch. I'll throw up on the strap, bitch. I'll throw up on the I'll bite the tip off the strap. Look at the...
Sluggo said a white hero must be in every movie that Hollywood greenlights. That's a fact. Even Django, the dude. You know what? I'm not gonna get into that. Let me keep reading because I won't finish. We got my man 334 on the train. What's going on? Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming aboard, man. Hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. Sydney said, not only did they not stop January 6th, they doubled down on their savagery by giving all those terrorists full pardons. Oh, what a surprise. Many of those criminals got arrested again, many of them for crimes against kids. The Sandusky Father O'Malley type crimes. Again, preach, sir. Preach. One of them just recently got arrested for some type of pedophilic type crime. And again, this is not being covered by the news and talked about in the way that it should be because for some reason, pedophilia doesn't seem to offend these people. Preach, Sydney. Okay, so somewhat of a short synopsis on the background of the Black Panthers, filling in some blanks here and there. So I'm going to allow Bobby Seale to, I'm going to somewhat do a quick little Q&A, not a quick, but kind of do a Q&A with him on some points and allow him to speak about it. And during the course of this, we can kind of fill in, or I'll fill in the blanks of a lot of the things that I kind of left out because I wanted it to be said in his words. So, and I'll get to it. I'll get to that when I get to that point. But there were a couple of things I wanted to do along those lines. But let's go here first. So the feature today is going to be Bobby Seale. I'm going to focus on him. Next up is going to be Huey P. Newton. So I'm going to focus on Bobby Seale. And I'm trying to see, do I want to start? No, I'll do that at the end. Okay, let's start here. So again, the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Police in the police department because it was necessary. You're dealing with ignorant savages. 60 years later, same thing. And again, that timeline lets you know that trying to be rational and reasonable with psychopaths just is, it's not an adequate strategy. Proof is in the pudding. It's just not an adequate strategy. So if you were to ask Brother Bobby Seale, do the Black Panthers want war and why do black people need guns? I'd imagine he'd say something along these lines. And once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show. Black Panther Party series. This is essentially part one where I'm going to focus on Bobby Seale. And as we go through some of these comments and him speaking in his own words in a rally in Boston, Massachusetts in 1969. I also have a more recent interview and a couple of sound bites from it. And I may go back and grab a few more towards the end of this, depending on the time. So if you were to ask Bobby Seale, do the Black Panthers want war? And why do black people need guns? He would have this to say.
We're going to talk about the fact that we're peaceful people and we stand for peace. That we don't want war, we want to end war. Wait a minute. We're going to talk about the fact that we do not want war, we want peace. We want to get rid of the gun, but we got sense enough to know it's necessary to pick up the gun to get rid of the gun.
So in other words, he understands that white America and white people in general aren't going to leave black people alone when they dare to stand up for themselves. They didn't do anything through some type of intellectual marvel type shit. They rape, steal, they kill motherfuckers. They use weapons. That's how they got where the fuck they're at. And that was necessary in any revolution for any group of oppressed people. Because the oppressor is not going to act right on their own. They're too fucked up for that. The proof is in the pudding. We're complaining about the same shit 60 goddamn years later. They're not unaware of the problem. They're not confused. There doesn't need to be any goddamn dialogue. There needs to be some fucking action. And it's simple. Get rid of fucked up people, put decent people in place, or allow them to only police white people if they're too goddamn fucked up to be impartial. It's very simple. But nothing's being done because they enjoy it too much and they don't want to be offended by the truth. And to have no black people with any type of political power saying anything doesn't give me faith in the goddamn system. And if you try to have this goddamn discussion, you're left with people fucking arguing dumb points with no intellectual point of view of the process whatsoever and no sense of the history of the goddamn country. I have rationale for my point of view. I have rationale because of their actions and or inaction. Please give me an example of these people acting right if left up to their own goddamn devices. Please. And I guarantee you I can counteract your statement with the fact that they gave you hollow-ass symbolism that led to nothing. You can't give me any indication of them acting right. Ever. Everything was everything was self-gratifying. Anything you throw at me. The end of slavery was because we were about to fucking kill them. There was going to be blood in this bitch, and they were going to get what they deserve. So they gave you the illusion of slavery, let our guard down slightly, and you're still dealing with the same bullshit. They freed us into absolutely nothing. When we built shit up, here they come with goddamn massacres. When they gave the illusion of somewhat equal rights, they come with redlining, bullshit-ass bank loans, banks not fucking with you. You can't even get a good fucking job. You're still dealing with biases. People are still being hung and burned alive. White people going home, putting on their Sunday best, taking pictures, sending it to their family because they're proud. This isn't that long ago. Every fucking instance. So you have to have weapons because they're not going to act right. Which is why every anti-gun campaign was always so goddamn stupid to me. If you know the history of the country. If you would have asked Mr. Seal, Brother Seal, do you believe that a protest without protection works? Can you just, like the civil rights era where you just protesting and allowing yourself to be beat? Does that work? Is that effective?
Now, we walked around this country, black people. We sat in, and we rolled in, and we slided in, and we prayed in, and we swimmed in, and we begged in, and we jumped in, and we had all kinds of ends. And while we was having these ends, we were singing, "We shall overcome." And while we were singing, "We shall overcome," the power structure sent its pigs down, and they kept a beat to the tune of the song, "We shall overcome," with a billy club crushing our skulls. We got to stop it.
Doesn't make any sense to take an ass whooping for doing what is right. You have the right to defend yourself. And that's the mentality we need to have. And that's what they always try to squash. If you go back to the NFAC, the Not Fucking Around Coalition, look how quickly this bitch-ass government attacked them. They never did what any of these psychotic white people do. They never went after any white people and killed white people in groups like all these psychotic-ass white people have done to us, and this country still ignores their underlying hate for black people. The only thing they did was defend black people when white people did some bullshit. They stood disciplined with their weapons, legal, trained, and ready for anything that may happen or may occur. And they made up a fake charge to put their leader in jail. Every time any group does what they're supposed to do, they're dealing with ignorant-ass government interference from a biased-ass group of motherfuckers that have never been held accountable for shit. Every goddamn time. The Not Fucking Around Coalition was necessary. I remember bringing it up and having otherwise intelligent black people laugh about it because they don't know the goddamn history and don't know how necessary that is. Why were they arrested? They have never attacked. We have never went out as a group and attacked white people. So what are y'all worried about? We're not fucked up as you. Don't you realize that at this point? It's not because we're weak. We just weren't made to be fucked up animals. I wish we were sometime. I swear. All this is about is them saying, you can't tell us to leave you alone. There's nothing else. Just stand the fuck down. They refuse. They absolutely refuse. So you can't have a protest without that. What happens now when people try to protest? Shooting people with rubber bullets, being attacked by crazy-ass white people and police and dogs. You got to have guns. If you're going to attack me for fucking protesting what's right, you need to die. It's that simple. It's self-defense. Until we get to that, man, all this walking around isn't going to... You can't reason with a bunch of ignorant motherfuckers. You just can't. Even back then, you hear now that color doesn't matter. The only color that matters is green. Bobby Seale addressed that notion because they were pushing that bullshit back then as well.
Stop it. They come up with some incipient notion about green power. Green power. All we got to do is look back at a little bit of history right here in the confines of this decadent system. And during the Civil War, as you know, the South had Confederate money. The North had Yankee money. But both sides had guns and force. The North outmaneuvered the South, took all the guns away, and defined the so-called green power, Confederate money of the South, as not being money anymore, and they burn it in the streets. So black people have come to a new realization. Now, what was happening here? What we found out from understanding that there's no such thing as green power, we begin to understand where power really lies. Huey P. Newton says, power is the...
And I paused there because I needed to stop it before he got there. But I'll refresh that part. Let me make sure. Let's do a little. Let me do a little combo right here. So we're going to combine that with the Black Panther Party's definition of power, dubbed by Huey P. Newton. So let me allow this part to finish, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
To define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. Power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner.
So again, the notion of green power, he just gave an example of how that was bullshit. Everybody had their money in that war, but at the end of the day, it's all about guns and weaponry. Again, which is why they were the party for self-defense. They knew and understood from the history of the country and from common sense and from paying attention, from pure observation, that we must protect ourselves, even if we just want to assemble. Not if we want to go get them. We don't do that. If we just want to assemble, we need guns because that's how ignorant and racist and biased this country is. An underlying hate for black people that not only would they not admit, they pretend to be upset if you bring it up. And use that as an excuse to act out their fantasies and poor upbringing, which is hysterical to a degree. The Black Panther Party defines power as the ability to define phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. Bobby Seale talked about how when they were marching into the Capitol, I think at the time Ronald Reagan was there, and he said when they were marching into the Capitol, Ronald Reagan jumped up and took off running. He said, now that was a small thing, but in that moment, Ronald Reagan was made to act in a desired manner. Hence the definition of power. Brother Bobby Seale also spoke about, if I would ask Brother Bobby, does this country have a history of violence against black people? And if you don't mind, could you give me an example?
Manner. Phenomena. Social phenomena as it affects black people. Black people. And we say black power. Now, black people, Brother Stokely, Brother Rapp, Huey P. Newton, Brother Eldridge Cleaver, all, and many black leaders who've been talking to you and speaking to you here are able to define it. They have the ability to define the social phenomenal situation as it affects us.
And that's my apologies. I didn't allow that clip to end when he was still giving you the definition of power. So I believe now is where we get into the history of the country as it pertains to black people.
Such as, for example, from 1890 to 1900, on the average of every 3 weeks, a black man was lynched, and not one white racist who committed this particular act was brought to trial. From 1900 to 1916, some 1,600 black people were lynched and murdered in the confines of this nation, and not one of them were brought to trial. No justice was brought about. Now, we look around in this nation, and we see many, many black people being shot down and murdered in the streets, and we see even many white people getting their heads and their skulls cracked because they're protesting. What's happening here? The power structure sends in guns and force. Guns and force. Every time the racist, decadent power structure makes a political decision upon any people's head, and those people disagree with the political decision, then the power structure sends in guns and force. Lynching Baines Johnson and his racist government has made political decisions upon the Vietnamese people's head. The Vietnamese people disagree with it, and the power structure sends in guns and force. Black people in the black community who've led black rebellions have disagreed with the political decisions that's been made by this racist power structure that causes the oppressive conditions that black people live in, and this racist, decadent power structure sends in guns and force.
So again, 1969, speaking about these issues and speaking about why you must protect yourself, because just trying to be so-called civilized, something they've never been, and trying to be peaceful and all that bullshit, it doesn't work when you're dealing with psychopaths. When trying to do nothing more than assemble and improve yourself, you're being attacked by the racist power structure in the police department. And the only way to protect yourself is to have weaponry. Without that, you're being harassed and assassinated. Again, when people were protesting obvious police murder, the police responded by shooting people in the face with rubber bullets. In that situation, those people should have been compromised. Their ability to function and process carbon dioxide should have been compromised. You can't reason with that. And anybody that's semi-decent, if they see those people get what they should have gotten, they might act right, or at least let me leave the police because this isn't where I want to be. But if you just allow psychopaths to run free, it's like a spoiled kid. They're not going to improve on their own. They require discipline. They have to be disciplined. When asked about how did Huey P. Newton come up with the 10-point plan, and I thought this was important as far as the way he came up with the 10-point plan.
But Brother Huey P. Newton, the brother we love, the most courageous leader, the Black Panther Party, after he took the 10-point platform and program of the Black Panther Party, went forth in the black community and took a sample. This is before we hit the streets with guns. A sample of 1,000 copies of this platform. And only one person disagreed with 1 point out of 1,000 people. This wasn't just a process of just giving a leaflet to somebody. It was a process of sitting down and discussing with the old people, the old mothers and the hardworking brothers and the brothers off the block and the brothers who've been to jail and the brothers who are on their way to jail and the brothers who are on parole and the college students, etc. The people this. They say this is what kind of organization we needed. The only thing Huey P. Newton outlined was not something just of his own. He basically outlined the desires and needs of the people that have been voiced for hundreds of years on the part of black people. So, and not until black people act.
My apologies for that glitch. But I found it interesting and, very important that the 10-point plan was derived, and he went around and talked to the community and the people that it involved and the people that he was trying to help. So it was truly a grassroots organization. It wasn't talking to him, going around the community, talking to elders, talking to people his age, talking to younger people, speaking to people that were in jail, out of jail, going to jail, and getting the opinions of the entire community, and did they agree with this particular platform? And interesting that he actually took the time to enforce it and go around and get information. It just wasn't something he jumped into and tried to implement something. He got the community's opinion on it and then proceeded to implement it. So I thought that was an important point. And once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Speaking about the Black Panther Party, today focusing on Mr. Bobby Seale. Brother Seale, when asked what would it take for a political revolution, if you were to ask them that, probably get an answer somewhere along these lines.
Until black people actually receive these basic 10 points, will in fact, I'm talking about in full with a new system here, not until black people receive these basic political desires and needs will there have been a revolution. And for us to receive these things, there is going to be a bloody revolution. Because we go into the community in terms of and the black community to organize and bring black people together in some unified fashion, unified around these 10 points. And every time we do that, those pigs attack us. And when they attack us, we have to shoot back so we can get our basic political desires and needs. This is the meaning of why it's going to be a bloody revolution, because that racist pig power structure with its military and everything else is going to try to murder the people who are going to go forth to try to institute new government.
And I think it's important that, again, not a violent group, but if we try to organize, we're going to be attacked for that, because there are very few things America hates more than black people getting together. It's always a problem. You talked about the classic in Alabama and Birmingham. The city goes out of their way to make it inconvenient. When white people have their events, they don't do that. But when they're in charge of everything, it's going to be fucked up like that. The inherent biases are obvious. We're just supposed to smile it off and act like everything's cool. And that shit is not going to make them act right. The only action will. But if you sit around waiting for these people to act right on their own, it's not going to happen. Because everything this man is talking about is what we're dealing with to this day. Bobby Seale spoke about how the members were trained and the way that they were brought into the Black Panther Party.
Huey P. Newton took 50 young black brothers off the block, trained them, and disciplined them with the gun. Told them it is not the gun that's dangerous, it's the man behind the gun that's dangerous. And like those pigs who are dangerous to us, who's murdering us, it's the man behind the gun that's dangerous. Explain to them that every human being on the face of this earth has a right to live, therefore he has a right to work. Explain to them that laws are made by mankind in any society, anywhere. They are made by mankind to serve mankind, and once those laws stop serving mankind, those laws have to be changed.
So again, I'm still waiting to hear the hate. So again, black people speaking intelligently, telling the truth about their environment and trying to improve it invokes the worst reaction from America. Yet and still, they can let a group of worthless motherfuckers gather, fully knowing they're doing it, and allow them to attack the capital of a country they say they love. And then you sit back and watch white America ignore it. No one understands that if something was happening to us, that's no different than back in the day. The people that didn't participate, they did the same thing, just act like they didn't see it. What's really changed? The behavior and mentality is, on their part, is not evolved much. It's not evolved much at all. And this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. And again, just listening to Bobby Seale, listening to several interviews, man, extremely intelligent brother. Extremely intelligent brother. Brother Bobby Seale, why do the Panthers, or what's the Panthers' reason for carrying weapons? Just reiterate that again, please.
Be changed. Huey says we're going to go forth. We're not going to slide in and roll in. We're going in our black communities, brothers, with our 12-gauge shotguns and our 357 Magnums and our 45s. And we're going to patrol these pigs who've been brutalizing our people in the black community. And if we catch one of them pigs brutalizing and trying to murder one of our people, he said, we're not going to stop arrest. All we're going to do is bail the brother out. But if we catch him brutalizing him or trying to kill one of them, we going to kill them pigs.
So again, I know white America would look at that as violence, but hear me out. Not really hear me out. Fuck you. If you just mind your own goddamn business and stop attacking fucking black people, stop being an ignorant ass motherfucking descendant of your goddamn savage ancestors, try to improve, try to be better, try to be decent, there would have been no need for a Black Panther Party. The only thing that they said is if you try to brutalize us and attack us for no reason, getting off on your poor ass fucking upbringing, we're going to kill your ass. And goddamn it, that was warranted, and it's warranted right now. Because you can't reason with this shit. We're not saying attack people, kill people, but if you're beating up a black person or attacking a black person for absolutely no reason, drop to the goddamn ground. If that started happening, do you know they would actually stop? Because they're not going to do it at their own will and volition. They're not going to do it like the heroes they're depicting in the goddamn movies. 60 plus years later, same old bullshit. It's not going to stop. It's one of their favorite pastimes. It's one of the very few American traditions that actually exist. It's not going to stop. And the people that are in a position to talk about it don't say a goddamn thing. Laugh and criticize people that bring it up. And there's not a goddamn thing funny about this shit. So when I see old white classmates laughing about this shit and acting like they support the police and pretend like they don't know what they're doing, I call them out in front of everybody. And I noticed that most black people don't say anything. And that shit's fucking crazy. We've fallen so goddamn far. To where the average ninja won't even tell the truth, might not be aware of the truth, or doesn't even care to research and find out what the truth is. It's some sad shit. It's some sad shit that all the people that put in that work really don't get looked at in the way that they should because America vilifies them and people just go with it. And now they're actually making history illegal. It's bad now. I'm afraid to see where we're going to be at in the next generation or so with the mentality of a lot of us right now. It's not everybody, but I don't know how many of us are interested in education and knowing the importance of our history and the history of the people that we're here with to understand how to move forward. Because right now, this is the living definition of if you don't learn your history, you're doing to repeat it. They're doing the same shit over and over again, and it's working. And the shit is some sad shit. This is the details on them policing the police, and this is why I left this up to him to say. Brother Bobby Seale, when the Black Panthers were watching the police, what were the results of those actions?
That in fact, when they were patrolling those pigs, and those pigs we stop and stand what we call a reasonable distance away, as written in California law, that every citizen has a right to observe an officer carrying out his duty as long as you stand a reasonable distance away. And traditionally in the courts, a reasonable distance was considered to be 8 to 10 feet in the state of California. And that's all we needed was 8 to 10 feet with shotguns. And working in this fashion, police brutality in Oakland stopped for a period of 6 months. The pigs were made in a period of time to act in a desired manner.
For 6 months, they put a severe slowdown and stop to police brutality. This is a celebratory moment, correct? They said they put an end to police brutality. I didn't hear anything about we killed this amount of police in 6 months. No, they just policed the police. That imagery. The question should be, why do they need to do this? Why is this necessary? He even said, if they're going to arrest a brother that did something wrong or whatever, we're not going to bother them for that. We'll just go bail them out. But you're not going to sit there and just beat on them, kick them, shoot them, kill them because you think it's okay. You're not going to do that shit. That's it. And as a result of that, there was an extreme and noticeable stop in the savage treatment of black people by the police. So you would think, okay, well, let's look into this. Let's try to keep this going. What are they doing that's causing these numbers to go down? No. What was the state of California's response to that? What did the state of California have to say about your actions in those 6 months? How did they respond?
So they went forward to the state of California, the legislature, to make laws against the Black Panther Party, against black people, to say that you could not arm yourself. They went forward so far across this nation, and as you know, the nature of this country is violent, its history is violent. Violence being projected upon people, violence used to steal and take from people. Went forth and they've gone forth to tell people to disarm themselves. Mayor Alioto of Frisco asked the people to turn in their weapons. I knew no Black Panthers was going to turn in their damn weapons. But the thing is, they're going across this nation talking about gun legislation. They're not good. Why in the hell is it can't they make some gun legislation against these pigs who are brutalizing and killing us? Let's disarm the cops first.
Again, black people standing up for themselves. We got to do something about this. Police killing black people left and right. They're turning a blind eye to it. Again, no different. January 6th, ignorant ass crackers. They turn a blind eye to it. Police killing us right now. Turn a blind eye to it. Justify, laugh. George Floyd gets killed. White people on TV with their kids doing the George Floyd challenge. You think these motherfuckers are going to grow up to be anything less than a worthless ingrate that deserves to die? No, they're not. What type of person watches a man get killed by the police on TV, and then large droves of white people are on Facebook pretending to die the way George Floyd did, imitating that, and their kids with big smiles on their faces because they're so happy? What's different than that's the same thing as them killing the black man in the middle of the city and everybody putting on clothes and coming and smiling around it? Same goddamn mentality. I think if you're aware of the history, you'll understand what you're dealing with, and you'll stop with all this dumbass false equivalence and feeling sorry for people that don't deserve it. Again, I'll go back with my analogy. Metaphorically, black people in America are in the middle of the ocean with no boat, just treading water, no land in sight. White people are in a metaphorical position to where they come by in a rowboat, and as they're floating by us, they lean back in the rowboat and say, "Oh my God, my arms are so tired." Now, I'll give it to that individual. His arms might be tired from rowing. But since I'm in the water with no boat, no protection, dealing with sharks and whatever else is in the ocean, I'm not in a position to care about his arms being tired. As a matter of fact, I'd be a goddamn fool to give a fuck about his arms being tired. And that's what I feel like our position is here. Your heart doesn't need to be that big. They're okay. And I'll even give this caveat. If that individual was to say, reach their arm out and bring me onto the boat, I would help the motherfucker paddle. Now, what I should do is beat them over the head with the fucking oar, throw them in there for the sharks, and go on about my business. But black people, we're special. So I would probably help them row. And that's our situation here. We're so big-hearted, we care more about other people's shit than our own. And in a situation where we shouldn't be this damn gracious, we're overly gracious. And it's met with nothing but psychopathy. It has to change at one point or another. It has to. And again, I'm speaking on actions. I didn't cause these people to act this way. This is just what they're doing. Weird to me because I didn't have terrible parents, so I can't relate to them. So the state of California basically said, let's get the guns out of these niggas' hands. We're not getting our daily nigga kill quota. All of these things could have been resolved a long time ago. The only thing they chose to do was amp it up in an act of defiance, pure ignorance, and American tradition. Brother Bobby Seale, can you give me an example of political power?
Let's disarm the cops first. Then it's necessary to go forth and see that they're changed, to see that the system is changed, to see that capitalism and exploitation of black people, capitalism and exploitation of even poor whites. I can't go into no poor white community talking, but you can. You can. So across this state, in every black community, and as we move forth, we in the black community want power to determine our own destiny in our black community. We want black candidates to be run. And those of you who want candidates who are going to oppose the system in the white communities, have them run. This is a working coalition. This is meaningful here. The signatures that are needed to get Brother Eldridge Cleaver on the ballot can be done by you thousands overnight. I've seen it done. We worked with the Peace and Freedom Party when it first came on the ballot. In Oakland, California, Alameda County, and San Francisco to put the Peace and Freedom Party on the ballot. Now that we've worked to get the Peace and Freedom Party on the ballot, and they worked hard too, it's necessary for us to go do some more work, all of us. The 30-some-odd signatures that are needed, and if everybody will get a sheet for the signatures of registered voters, we might be able to put Eldridge Cleaver in this state on the ballot. And you talking about some hard revolutionary work and the new revolutionary politics being enacted, moving. This is where it starts.
Eldridge Cleaver. If you know the history, Bobby Hutton, the first member of the Black Panther Party, very young kid, and Eldridge Cleaver, they shot him in the foot. They murdered Bobby Hutton. And in the movie Panther, the way they set that up is almost like they justify what the police did. Like Eldridge Cleaver and Hutton were very upset after Dr. King got assassinated, saying he didn't do anything to anybody. And they essentially said they made a call to the police about some type of problem. And when they showed up, they just started shooting at them. I think even if that was going to be something that they would do, they wouldn't set themselves up to get killed by being two people against the entire police force. They would be fully aware that shit wouldn't work. But again, the way that movie was depicted didn't work for them. And Eldridge Cleaver was who they wanted to put on the ballot. That was really the problem with the Black Panther Party. They were organized, intelligent, and they wanted to gain political power and control their community. They wanted to work within the system, which is supposed to be what you're supposed to do. But again, fucked up ass America had a problem with that. So again, if we're going to address our issues, if we don't discuss the fact, or we don't discuss the underlying hate for Black people and the fact that we're the only group of people that the country literally attacks anytime we try to get together, I don't know how we're going to fix any goddamn thing. Although it's just kind of a waste of time at that point. You might as well just roll with the shit and act like you don't see it. Sluggo saying, preach, Bobby. Sluggo said, sadly, we've marched in the opposite direction of a political revolution. Facts. Sluggo said, the flamboyant Hoover said the nigger unity was the single greatest threat to America. He did. He did, sir. Sluggo said, wow, those scary-ass cops backed down in the face of the Panthers. Yeah, they backed down when they had somebody that had the ability to take them down. Shotguns and the same pistols they got. And that's probably why they're so heavily armed now. JBJ said, I still need to watch that Black Panther movie, but I was certain that it did not portray the real Panther Party. It was, after just looking into it, it was such a, the best thing that I can say is it was an extremely inadequate depiction. With everything that I've read, the things that should have been focused on, but white America can't do that because they had to have something in the movie to depict these individuals as evil. Again, JBJ said, I still need to watch the Black Panther movie, but I'm certain that it did not portray the real Panther Party.
You're right. It's fact. You're right. It's fact.
For those that may have been led to believe that there was some kind of equality to the Panther Party and these short-sighted, inbred, racist white groups.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. Bamboozled. Led astray. Run amok.
I just messed up I got too excited. I wasn't supposed to do that. Lee, you know what? I can do a little bootleg version. I wasn't supposed to do that. Had two more points to make, and I kind of threw them off for that. Not kind of, but I did. But I can fix that. I can work my way around that. Shouldn't be that. Okay, I'm like that. And this is Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy that Ninja. Got a little bit too excited right there. Doing sound bites. I should have known I couldn't do that. Well, I can aside though. That's all right. Give me 1 second. I can put this in place and I can still get to these points. All right, and forgive me for the bootleg version of this, but Brother Bobby Seale, where does power come from, in your estimation?
Power for the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. Power for the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. Not to be an atrocious murder, but to defend yourself against those who oppress you.
So again, it comes out the barrel of a gun because again, if not, when you're trying to be reasonable and do all the things they say you're supposed to do, they're going to do the same things their ancestors did, is act like savages. There's a history of it. It's the only thing they know. Even recently, they do the same shit. They lose an election, they act like the worthless bitches that they are. And the people that didn't participate act like they don't see it. And then tell you they're an American and get mad at a black person for telling the truth about the way that they act and they expect you to give a damn. It's motherfucking crazy. It's absolutely insane. But the behavior really hasn't changed, quite frankly. And the Black Panther Party really and truly was a political organization, an intelligent organization, an organized organization. And the only reason they had weapons was because the white people were so fucked up. That's it. If they weren't fucked up, they wouldn't have needed the weapons. You heard them say that in the beginning of that dissertation. We don't want war, but we have to have the gun in order to get other people to put the gun down. We have to have the gun. And he understood that, and you understand that by paying attention and understanding the history of the country. Maybe a couple of more quick ones. This is another one I had on here. These first two, but just a little more on Bobby Seale. Something that impacted, and I spoke about this earlier, that impacted the membership of the Black Panthers, the assassination of Dr. King. They founded it after the assassination of Malcolm X. After the assassination of Dr. King, there was a significant increase in membership, and Brother Bobby's going to speak on that.
Following Martin Luther King's murder, the Black Panther Party grew like wildfire. From May of 1968 to December, we grew 5,000 full-time active members. There are 45 chapters and branches. That's 45 different cities throughout the United States of America. I did the political education, et cetera, et cetera. The defense programs, the Ministry of Information, the Ministry of Defense, et cetera. The guns, which are the right to defend ourselves. When your officers attack, you will defend yourselves. In 1969, every Black Panther Party office in this country was attacked at least once. Some was attacked as much as 3 or 4 times.
So again, the organization, and he spoke about that widespread organization, and what a hell of an accomplishment for somebody that was probably around 24, 25 years old. Went around and helped and organized the preventive health programs. You know, keep your shit straight so you don't need help and help later. Eat better, you know, giving people groceries, food programs, all of these positive things they did, yet and still this bullshit ass country depicted them as some type of hate group. And they depict raping, pedophile, savage, ignorant bastards as founders of the country and great men in American history. Every so-called founding father was something every Black person, if given the opportunity to back then, would have killed violently and been justified in the eyes of God, if that is your thing. 100%. And this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. I'm not going to linger much longer because of how late it is on the East Coast. But I did want to at least give this and again, I think it's important to know like where Bobby Seale came from. And this is a quick little he gives a quick little dissertation on a story about his grandfather and his father. And it lends to understand his mentality and the way that he was and how he was able to grow into somebody that was able to found something as historically significant as the Black Panther Party.
My grandpa Archie, 12, 13, 14, got the contracts to build outhouses and stuff. But later, as that our family became associated with this banking family in East Texas and Jasper, Texas, he later started getting major building contracts. So they was doing some so-called strip mining, I think, in this town Weirgate, 20 miles east of Jasper. And my grandpa got the contract to build that town up via the banking framework. So he'd work whites on this side and blacks on this side. But my grandpa said everybody get paid the same, and I don't want to hear nothing, because he was a rough old dude, being an artisan, etc., but never accepting some notion that you Negroes is free, because you ain't free. You don't even know what freedom is. That's my background. I mean, I didn't learn and know about this, till later. My father was raised a carpenter and a builder, too. One time he was building a house. Some white boys didn't like the idea that he had this whole contract to build his house. So my dad was out there working one Saturday. And they all drove up, the white boys. Jumped out, George, come, nigger boy, come on down here. We're going to whoop you. These are the young white boys about my dad. My dad's about 18 or 19. So my dad said, okay, I'll be right down. So he hops off the roof, jumps all the way down. He said he deliberately jumped to grab the first 2x4 on the ground, long 2x4, and picked it up, and the one was doing the most talking, cracked that white boy right across the head. And started whooping on a couple of the others, and they got back and took the engine and got in the car. Then they was going to lynch and kill my father. But the white bank old man Seal said, no, you can't do it that way. Well, a banker has a little power, I guess. If you don't like each other, you have to have a fair fight. So they got out in front of the city hall area around Jasper. And the old style, my daddy whooped him all the way around the place. Every time he move his toe right up next to his, push him on around it.
So I thought it was important or significant and kind of cool that, he said he found out about this later, but I think it deals with the mentality of his bloodline and his parents and whatnot. I mean, just look at the mentality of who we're dealing with. The shit is obviously passed down. But his grandfather, being an artisan back then, very hard thing to do, in charge of a crew, black people on one side, white on the other side, making sure everybody got paid evenly, having to deal with a lot of bullshit. Father being a carpenter by trade. And when he was fucked with, he jumped right off that roof, cracked the motherfucker's head who's talking the most shit. Anybody that was raised properly knows that anytime you're in that situation, whoever's doing the most talking, that's who you knock out. And again, like cowards, after taking that ass whooping after fucking with him in the first place, they wanted to jump on him and lynch him and go get help. They were made to partake in a fair fight, and once again got his motherfucking ass kicked. But that's the background that he comes from, and those are the things that the kind of lineage that he grew from. So it makes sense that he ended up being the individual that he was. Now, there are still a lot more details and a lot of other things I'd like to get into, but I had to really kind of summarize it because I'd be talking forever. But Bobby Seale, extremely significant. A few other things I'd like to get into, but I won't tonight. But the Black Panther Party, and again, I think it's very important and significant that it's said and recognized and understood that Caucasian interference is the problem for most of our issues in this country. Every time that we're not dumb at all. And I've seen all the things that I can see that bother me and that I think anybody would have a problem with if you're paying attention. I can see that throughout history, we've obviously had a problem with these things, and people have tried to do things to supplement and compensate for what we're going through. And it's always met with vitriol by the same people that say they don't see color and act like savages every time it suits them. And you're not going to get anywhere pretending like that's not the case. So I wish we just get to that point, because that's just the beginning. If we understand that, then we can get back to that point of understanding a common enemy and acting accordingly. But so many of us, for a multitude of reasons, whether it be wanting to get along, wanting to be liked, wanting to be way too nice and or Christian, leads to this unwarranted empathy and this neutered behavior. I don't know how else to say it. But the entire point is that without government interference, Marcus Garvey would have accomplished great things in this country during its infancy before they put up all of these rules to keep people from doing these things. He would have accomplished great things. And he did accomplish great things, but it would have been even more without government interference, white America's interference. I cannot imagine what Dr. King and Malcolm X would have accomplished without government interference. Medgar Evers without government interference. I can't imagine what the Black Panther Party could have turned into without the interference of white America. Point being, don't disrespect all of those individuals that put forth those efforts by pretending like we're so inept, incompetent, and stupid that we always destroy ourselves. We're dealing with interference, we're dealing with ignorance, and we're dealing with savagery that is not acknowledged. And most people, when they talk about it, are met with vitriol, not only from the whites, but from their own people. But you cannot fix this shit by ignoring the obvious. We've accomplished great things in this country, still accomplishing great things in this country. But anytime it wasn't government sanctioned or approved by the savages, it was met with vitriol. I can only imagine what this country would look like if America wasn't so hell-bent on holding Black people back. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja, man. Thank y'all for coming aboard and rolling with me. JBJ said, whoop, whoop. Let me go back. Sluggo said, not one savage was found hanging from a tree. Oh, 1 second. I got something in the way to where I can't read that. All right. Not one savage was found hanging from a tree under the Panthers' leadership. The Klan's 10-point plan all began and ended with harming or killing a ninja. I can't think of a better way to close that out, sir.
Truth is for everybody, but everybody might not be for the truth.
Any negative commentary towards the Panthers, any belief that we're our own worst enemy, any belief that we're in our own way, any belief that because this person did this, that's why they acting like that. That excuse cannot be relevant through every point in fucking history where they've always acted the same. They just put a different face on it, a different smile, and a different line of bullshit. Bottom line, if you understand the history, you'll understand your present situation. And in the future, you won't allow them to run the exact same game with the exact same lie. And I see the exact same group of people on social media blaming us for their bullshit.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
But preach on that, Sluggo. Going to end that with a bomb drop and close this here out. When you don't address something, that means you want it to fester. They attack every Black group because they're scared and worried about what we might do. Groups of savages are allowed to be in police departments, FBI, government, Congress, Senate, CEOs, managers, bank managers, positions of authority all over the country. And it's allowed to fester because when you're a part of that group, why would you police it? It's foolhardy, ignorant, and stupid at this point to pretend like these people have any fairness in their heart. Even if they wanted to be, whatever they consider to be fair is far from that. They're just not capable of it. And as long as we pretend that we're going to get some type of humane treatment from people that lack humanity, it's not going to change. And all of that is justified and warranted and reinforced by some of the history we talked about today. Hey, look, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for the back and forth. I apologize for not getting on yesterday and today. Still an hour or so off of my desired start time. But nonetheless, man, thank you for the back and forth. We're going to continue with part 2. A few more things from Brother Bobby Seale, and we're going to get into Huey P. Newton and him in particular. After that, we will get into Fred Hampton. And we're going to have one more installment after that, and I'll let you know what that's going to be. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for the back and forth. Because of my current limit, been stopping around 3. Don't want to run too late. I'm going to get ready to shut this thing down, man. Wind down for the evening. I'm going to get with y'all on next Monday. Also, again, we still need to get that bracket together. So, again, get those movies in the back of your mind together, and I'm going to engage in something that's going to allow us to do a quick brainstorm on that. Maybe a bonus show that won't last long at all, just long enough to get this together, because I'm probably going to want to run these episodes together. There was one more thing. That bracket tournament is like 4th. One more thing. Easter is extremely early this year. It's in early April. I'm going to try to get things in order, but hopefully I can have the special guest I'm looking for on. So I'm going to contact that individual and see how that goes. But Easter is early April. Traditionally, I try to have my show on religion the day after Easter. So that's going to be in the first week of April, if I'm not mistaken. So the annual show on religion is on the horizon. It is on the horizon. So if I do this properly, I should run these shows and go right into the show on religion. But again, I need to get that bracket tournament in too. But we'll get that together. But just a reminder, the show on religion is going to be the first week in April this year. It is snuck up on me. I thought I had a little more time until I looked at the calendar. All right, man. Thank y'all for coming aboard. Abbreviated outro today. But I will say, I appreciate the back and forth. I consider that to be therapeutic, which makes all of you my de facto therapists. Before I get out of here, hold on, let me fix that. Once again, on the closeout, much respect to Bobby Seale. Much respect to the Black Panther Party and their accomplishments, and their founders, Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. Really only scratched the surface today, but there were so many interesting things, and again, it just flies in the face of America's view of the Black Panthers. And again, that movie was inadequate to say the least. And I guess when I just think back on the A.J. Johnson character, maybe that was their way of, showing interference in the COINTELPRO thing. Maybe that was it. But, they always, I'll just stop. They always get into that, we did it to ourselves bullshit when it was so much more than that. It was so much more than that, because in that movie, I don't think they talked about the government. They depicted the police a little bit. They didn't really they didn't say much about the FBI and Hoover and COINTELPRO. They didn't really talk about that. But it is what it is, man. Thank y'all for the back and forth. On the way out the door, R.I.P. DT. Pops taught me to think of all I speak, but not speak all I think. Simply put, this means that sometimes you need to think about what it is you're about to say and who you are about to say it to. And or maybe you just need to shut the fuck up. But either way, think all you speak, but speak not all you think. And as always, I take a shot for Pop. R.I.P. DT. Appreciate y'all, man. I peeled them damn shades because it was actually interfering with my ability to read. That blue light was a bit much. Appreciate y'all, man. We'll see y'all next time. As always, take care and be easy.